Sword skill. Wavelight. It was one of Jian Wushuang's 3 most powerful sword skills. It was a sword skill used to trap enemies. After Jian Wushuang combined 4 principles, the power and toughness of this sword skill had been greatly improved. Now, this sword skill was perfectly displayed in Jian Wushuang's hands. The mighty waves of sword essence were endless and rushed toward Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch was an expert in sword principle. Now that he was standing in the center of the sea of sword essence, he could clearly sense the endless essence in the sea of sword essence. What a powerful essence! This sword skill is quite impressive. If I can't completely destroy this sword skill in one breath, the waves in the sky will be endless. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's eyes were cold. In the next moment, he raised the purple divine sword in his hand. In an instant, a purple sword light descended from the sky like a purple thunderbolt, slashing toward the sea of sword intent in front of him. Walala! As the purple thunderbolt swept, the sea of sword intent in front of him immediately began to retreat and collapse at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, nearly 90% of the sea of sword intent collapsed, but the power of the purple thunderbolt was completely exhausted, dissipating in the world. What? A hint of surprise flashed through Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's eyes, but he immediately regained his calm. No wonder this kid was able to use this move to render so many third-level rulers helpless. This sword art is a little stronger than I imagined. Even when I used my full strength, I was still unable to completely destroy this sword art. That ancient Soul King's offensive ability is far inferior to mine. His strongest attack can probably only destroy 60 to 70% of this sword art at most. But in the blink of an eye, this sword art concept can be completely restored. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch could already see that the ocean of sword intent around him, which had already collapsed by 90%, had returned to its original state in a short period of time. It was still vast and mighty, and endless waves were continuously surging toward him. It seems that I really have to take out some methods to kill this kid. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's eyes flashed with a fierce light. Heaven-punishing sword. Buzz. A killing intent instantly filled the entire world. The surrounding space began to tremble under this killing intent. Even Jian Wushuang could not help but raise his head. Whoosh! An unparalleled sword light mercilessly slashed down. This sword light was bright and dazzling, filled with a terrifying sharpness that could kill the world. In the blink of an eye, the sword light had already struck the ocean of sword essence in front of him. The sea of sword essence, which filled the sky and was extremely tough, directly melted under the sweeping sword light. In a short moment, more than 90% of the ocean of sword essence had melted, and there was still a lot of power left in the sword light. Finally, buzz! The vast ocean of sword essence completely dissipated, and Jian Wushuang's sword move completely collapsed. My wavelight sword art was actually defeated by a frontal attack? Jian Wushuang's eyes slightly sank. After he had integrated 4 principles, the wavelight sword art had been improved to a certain extent, and it was much more resilient than before. However, Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch still completely defeated his sword art with 1 sword move. It was clear how powerful Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's sword move was, as expected of the number 1 killer in the 9th Dark Zone. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly, but his expression was still very relaxed. His relaxed appearance was naturally noticed by Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch and Blood Rain Demon Monarch, who was in the void nearby. This kid, his sword art that he is proud of has been destroyed by my direct strike. What other means does he have? Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch frowned. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch, Jian Wushuang said. My blood sword has dominated the eternal dark prison for so many years, and I have created 3 strongest swordsmanship. The one I chose to confront you with was the main offensive swordsmanship. Obviously, its power is far inferior to yours. The sword skill wavelight that I just displayed was used to trap the enemy, but it was broken by you. But next, I will perform the last sword skill of the 3 sword skills I created. This sword skill is called Earthguard. It is mainly used to protect the body. I don't know if you can break this sword skill of mine. Jian Wushuang smiled and waved his right hand, causing endless sword essence to sweep out. Buzz, buzz, a large amount of earthy yellow earth principles swept out. In addition to the earth principles, the other 3 principles also surged into the sword essence. A layer of earth sword realm was formed. In the blink of an eye, 51 layers of earth sword realm condensed in front of Jian Wushuang. The 51 layers of earth sword realm, which was led by the earth principles and contained 4 layers of principal power, was Jian Wushuang's strongest protective sword skill. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch. Come and try it. Jian Wushuang smiled. He had absolute confidence in his Earth Guard sword skill. Humph, what body protection sword skill. In the face of absolute power, any method is useless. Watch me break your protection sword skill. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch snorted and raised the purple divine sword in his hand again. Buzz! The shocking killing intent once again filled the heaven and earth. Heaven Punishing Sword. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch made his move. He used the sword move that had just destroyed the sword skill Wavelight. It was a dazzling sword with endless killing intent. The unparalleled sword light mercilessly slashed out and instantly struck the Earth Guard sword domain in front of Jian Wushuang. In just a moment, more than half of the 51 Earth Sword realms had collapsed, but the remaining Earth Sword realms were still indestructible. The unparalleled sword light gradually slowed down, and in the end, its power completely dissipated. However, there were still 9 Earth Sword realms left in front of Jian Wushuang. You managed to break through 42 levels of the Earth Sword realm, which is of a much higher quality than before. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch. Your swordsmanship is indeed powerful. Jian Wushuang casually smiled. In the blink of an eye, the 51 levels of the Earth Sword realm recovered. However, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's face was a little gloomy. He actually blocked my Heaven Punishing Sword? And there are only 9 levels left in the 51 sword domains. Obviously, the protective power of his swordsmanship is far from its limit. Thousand-Edge, it seems that you have underestimated Blood Sword Master. Blood Rain Demon Monarch's playful voice sounded at this moment. Humph, I'm not surprised. Blood Sword Master is just a principles master. He has a principal true treasure and has been living in eternal dark prison. How could he not have any life-saving skills? Now it seems that his strongest life-saving skill is the protective swordsmanship. He can even block my heaven-punishing sword head-on. He is indeed powerful, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch said in a low voice. He acknowledged the power of Jian Wushuang's body-protecting swordsmanship, but he was not at his wit's end. Couldn't be broken? I've roamed the eternal prison for more than 100 chaos cycles, creating my own Heaven Punisher and Blood Heaven sword arts. With these 2 sword arts, I've killed countless prisoners during these 100 chaos cycles. I've even killed quite a few 3rd-tier prisoners. In the entire eternal prison, aside from the Supreme 10 Monarchs, I'm not afraid of anyone. How can the Blood Sword Master, a mere principles masters, stop me? Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's gaze was cold. In terms of power, my Blood Heaven sword is nearly twice as powerful as the Heaven Punishing sword. I don't believe that I can't kill him. Boom! Monstrous demonic might swept out. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's gaze turned scarlet. At the same time, his entire body was faintly showing a dark red color. This dark red color was like the color of blood. Blood stained the heavens. This was the strongest sword skill Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch had created, the Blood Heaven Sword. Die! Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch suddenly shouted hysterically. The purple divine sword in his hand trembled violently and turned completely blood-red at this moment. Whoosh! It was a blood-red sword light that made people's hearts race. The blood-red sword light was cold, dark, and carried an unprecedented killing intent. In the blink of an eye, it had appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's eyes darkened slightly. A stronger swordsmanship? I wonder if my Earth Guard swordsmanship can withstand this sword. There was a hint of expectation in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Bang! The blood-red sword light slashed directly at the Earth Sword realm. In an instant, an extremely terrifying power and a terrifying cutting force burst out. The 51 levels of Earth Sword realm on Jian Wushuang's body were destroyed in the blink of an eye. Then another level of Earth Sword Realm collapsed and dissipated. The 47th level, the 48th level. In the end, the blood-red sword light directly broke through the 49th level of Earth Sword Realm on Jian Wushuang's body, but it was blocked by the 50th level of Earth Sword Realm. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's strongest sword move stopped at the 50th level. It didn't break through? This time, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch was really shocked. He was absolutely confident in his offensive ability. The strongest sword skill he used, Bloodheaven Sword, was almost as powerful as the 10 Supreme Rulers. In the first level of Eternal Dark Prison, except for the 10 Supreme Rulers, there were few third-level rulers who could defeat him in terms of pure power. However, the strongest swordsmanship that he was most proud of failed to break the body-protecting swordsmanship of the Principal's Master. This is interesting. Blood Rain Demon Monarch, who had been watching the battle from the side, also looked over with a strange light in his eyes. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, it seems that your strongest swordsmanship is only SOSO. Jian Wushuang chuckled. Deep down, he was very satisfied with the defensive ability of the earth-protecting swordsmanship. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's strongest swordsmanship is definitely at the level of a third-level advanced ruler. In the Eternal Dark Prison, perhaps only the 10 kings can defeat him in terms of offensive power. However, his sword still failed to completely break my Earth Guardian swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. He had previously guessed that the Earth Guardian swordsmanship, which he had refined after fusing 4 principles and focusing on the Earth, should be very powerful in terms of its defensive ability. Now, it seemed that it was indeed so. Blood Rain, this kid's body protection sword technique is quite impressive. It will be very difficult for me to kill him. I'm afraid I'll need your help, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch said in a deep voice. Thousand-Edge, when you asked me to help, you said that as long as I set up an array formation to prevent him from escaping, you would be the one to kill him. You didn't say that you wanted me to kill him, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said with a teasing tone. I didn't expect this kid's protective swordsmanship to be so good. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's face was gloomy. Blood Rain, help me. You can ask for anything. Blood Rain Demon Monarch had helped Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch this time because he owed him a favor. However, when Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch asked Blood Rain Demon Monarch, he said that the favor could only be exchanged for Blood Rain Demon Monarch setting up a formation to prevent Jian Wushuang from escaping. As for Blood Rain Demon Monarch personally making a move, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch did not say it, so it was naturally not within the scope of the favor. Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch did not have a good relationship. After seeing the situation clearly, Blood Rain Demon Monarch directly made a condition. I can help you with 5 Supreme-grade Supreme Treasures. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch immediately frowned. Supreme True Treasures were common in Eternal Dark Prison, and they were easy to get. Killing a ruler at the peak of the 2nd level could get many such Supreme True Treasures. However, Supreme-tier Supreme True Treasures were rare. Under normal circumstances, a 3rd-level ruler would only have 1 or 2 Supreme-tier Supreme True Treasures. However, a 3rd-level ruler with a Supreme-grade Supreme True Treasure was usually very difficult to kill. Therefore, even if Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch was one of the 5 Supreme Experts in the 9th Dark Zone, he still had a Supreme-grade Supreme True Treasure. There were not many of them. Blood Rain Demon Monarch wanted 5 Supreme-grade Supreme True Treasures at once, which was indeed not a small number. However, when he thought of the principal True Treasure Divine Sword in Jian Wushuang's hand, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch clenched his teeth and directly agreed. Okay, 5 Supreme-grade Supreme True Treasures. I'll give them to you later. That won't do. After all, you're good at sword principle. Once you kill Blood Sword Master and get his principal True Treasure, your strength will increase greatly. By then, I'm afraid I'll have no choice but to run for my life in front of you. If you don't want to give it to me later, there's nothing I can do. So, you'd better give me the 5 Supreme-grade True Treasures first, and then I'll take action. It's safer, said Blood Rain Demon Monarch. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch was so angry that he gritted his teeth, but he still nodded heavily. All right, I'll give you 5 Supreme-grade Supreme Treasures now. With that, He waved his hand and threw an interspatial ring at Blood Rain Demon Monarch. Blood Rain Demon Monarch took it, scanned it with his consciousness, and nodded with a smile. But then he said, "Thousand Edge, I have to make it clear. Although I promise to do my best, you can't blame me if I still can't kill Bloodsword Master. Of course, you just have to do your best," Thousand Edge Demon Monarch said. After they finished their discussion, Blood Rain Demon Monarch slowly floated toward Jian Wushuang. Listening to their conversation, Jian Wushuang remained calm. He did not intend to interrupt them. "I've roamed the Eternal Prison for more than 100 Chaos Cycles, creating my own Heaven Punisher and Blood Heaven Sword Arts. With these two sword arts, I've killed countless prisoners during these 100 Chaos Cycles. I've even killed quite a few third-tier prisoners. In the entire Eternal Prison, aside from the Supreme 10 Monarchs, I'm not afraid of anyone. How can the Blood Sword Master, a mere Principles Masters, stop me?" Thousand Edge Demon Monarch's gaze was cold. "In terms of power, my Blood Heaven Sword is nearly twice as powerful as the Heaven Punishing Sword. I don't believe that I can't kill him." Boom! Monstrous demonic might swept out. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch's gaze turned scarlet. At the same time, his entire body was faintly showing a dark red color. This dark red color was like the color of blood. Blood stained the heavens. This was the strongest sword skill Thousand Edge Demon Monarch had created, the Blood Heaven Sword. "Die!" Thousand Edge Demon Monarch suddenly shouted hysterically. The purple divine sword in his hand trembled violently and turned completely blood-red at this moment. Whoosh! It was a blood-red sword light that made people's hearts race. The blood-red sword light was cold, dark, and carried an unprecedented killing intent. In the blink of an eye, it had appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's eyes darkened slightly. "A stronger swordsmanship? I wonder if my Earth Guard swordsmanship can withstand this sword." There was a hint of expectation in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Bang! The blood-red sword light slashed directly at the Earth Sword Realm. In an instant, an extremely terrifying power and a terrifying cutting force burst out. The 51 levels of Earth Sword Realm on Jian Wushuang's body were destroyed in the blink of an eye. Then another level of Earth Sword Realm collapsed and dissipated. The 47th level, the 48th level. In the end, the blood-red sword light directly broke through the 49th level of Earth Sword Realm on Jian Wushuang's body, but it was blocked by the 50th level of Earth Sword Realm. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch's strongest sword move stopped at the 50th level. It didn't break through? This time, Thousand Edge Demon Monarch was really shocked. He was absolutely confident in his offensive ability. The strongest sword skill he used, Blood Heaven Sword, was almost as powerful as the 10 Supreme Rulers. In the first level of Eternal Dark Prison, except for the 10 Supreme Rulers, there were few third-level rulers who could defeat him in terms of pure power. However, the strongest swordsmanship that he was most proud of failed to break the body-protecting swordsmanship of the Principles Master. This is interesting. Blood Rain Demon Monarch, who had been watching the battle from the side, also looked over with a strange light in his eyes. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, it seems that your strongest swordsmanship is only SOSO. Jian Wushuang chuckled. Deep down, he was very satisfied with the defensive ability of the earth-protecting swordsmanship. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch's strongest swordsmanship is definitely at the level of a third-level advanced ruler. In the Eternal Dark Prison, perhaps only the 10 kings can defeat him in terms of offensive power. However, his sword still failed to completely break my Earth Guardian swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. He had previously guessed that the Earth Guardian swordsmanship, which he had refined after fusing 4 principles and focusing on the Earth, should be very powerful in terms of its defensive ability. Now, it seemed that it was indeed so. Blood Rain, this kid's body protection sword technique is quite impressive. It will be very difficult for me to kill him. I'm afraid I'll need your help, Thousand Edge Demon Monarch said in a deep voice. Thousand Edge, when you asked me to help, you said that as long as I set up an array formation to prevent him from escaping, you would be the one to kill him. You didn't say that you wanted me to kill him, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said with a teasing tone. I didn't expect this kid's protective swordsmanship to be so good. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's face was gloomy. Blood Rain, help me. You can ask for anything. Blood Rain Demon Monarch had helped Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch this time because he owed him a favor. However, when Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch asked Blood Rain Demon Monarch, he said that the favor could only be exchanged for Blood Rain Demon Monarch setting up a formation to prevent Jian Wushuang from escaping. As for Blood Rain Demon Monarch personally making a move, Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch did not say it, so it was naturally not within the scope of the favor. Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch did not have a good relationship. After seeing the situation clearly, Blood Rain Demon Monarch directly made a condition. I can help you with 5 supreme-grade supreme treasures. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch immediately frowned. Supreme true treasures were common in Eternal Dark Prison, and they were easy to get. Killing a ruler at the peak of the 2nd level could get many such supreme true treasures. However, supreme tier supreme true treasures were rare. Under normal circumstances, a 3rd level ruler would only have 1 or 2 supreme tier supreme true treasures. However, a 3rd level ruler with a supreme grade supreme true treasure was usually very difficult to kill. Therefore, even if Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch was one of the 5 supreme experts in the 9th Dark Zone, he still had a supreme grade supreme true treasure. There were not many of them. Blood Rain Demon Monarch wanted 5 supreme grade supreme true treasures at once, which was indeed not a small number. However, when he thought of the principal true treasure Divine Sword in Jian Wushuang's hand, Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch clenched his teeth and directly agreed. Okay, 5 supreme grade supreme true treasures. I'll give them to you later. That won't do. After all, you're good at sword principle. Once you kill Blood Sword Master and get his principal true treasure, your strength will increase greatly. By then, I'm afraid I'll have no choice but to run for my life in front of you. If you don't want to give it to me later, there's nothing I can do. So, you'd better give me the 5 supreme grade true treasures first, and then I'll take action. It's safer, said Blood Rain Demon Monarch. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch was so angry that he gritted his teeth, but he still nodded heavily. All right, I'll give you 5 supreme grade supreme treasures now. With that, he waved his hand and threw an interspatial ring at Blood Rain Demon Monarch. Blood Rain Demon Monarch took it, scanned it with his consciousness, and nodded with a smile. But then he said, Thousand Edge, I have to make it clear. Although I promise to do my best, you can't blame me if I still can't kill Blood Sword Master. Of course, you just have to do your best, Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch said. After they finished their discussion, Blood Rain Demon Monarch slowly floated toward Jian Wushuang. Listening to their conversation, Jian Wushuang remained calm. He did not intend to interrupt them. What, is Blood Rain Demon Monarch going to attack too? Jian Wushuang looked at Blood Rain Demon Monarch indifferently. In terms of strength, Blood Rain Demon Monarch was on par with Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch, but their fields of expertise were completely different. Blood Rain Demon Monarch was best at formations, followed by the soul. She had a very good grasp of the soul, which was why Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch had spent 5 supreme grade supreme true treasures to ask Blood Rain Demon Monarch to help her. Blood Rain, no matter how heaven-defying Blood Sword Master is, he is only a principles master. His soul is certainly not that strong. With your attainments in the soul, you should be able to kill him easily with a soul attack. As long as his soul is destroyed, no matter how strong his defensive ability is, it's useless, Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch said. Blood Rain Demon Monarch fixed her bewitching gaze on Jian Wushuang. Blood Sword Master, you are an absolute genius. Your talent is enough to amaze me. It's a pity that we are in the Eternal Dark Prison after all. It's useless to rely on your talent to survive here, so I can only let you down. Blood Rain Demon Monarch's voice was gentle and pitiful, but as she spoke, a faint strange light flashed in her eyes. Die! As soon as she finished her words, a majestic soul power came toward Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang had no way to dodge it. The soul power entered his sea of consciousness and tried to destroy his soul. The soul power was too powerful. After all, it was a soul attack from a 3rd-level master, while Jian Wushuang was only a principles master. His soul had not been transformed yet. Faced with such a soul attack, He had no room to struggle. In the blink of an eye, his soul was destroyed. He's dead. Blood Rain Demon Monarch smiled. As expected of Blood Rain. In addition to the formation, your soul attack is also one of the best in Eternal Dark Prison. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch said in surprise. Don't praise me. My soul attack is not very strong. It's just that Blood Sword Master's soul is too weak. Blood Rain Demon Monarch smiled and said, All right, Thousand Edge, Blood Sword Master is dead. Go and get your principal true treasure. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch could not wait any longer. He immediately planned to get more than 1,000. Suddenly, Blood Sword Master, whose soul had already been destroyed, opened his eyes again. A crafty look flashed in his eyes. When he saw Thousand Edge Demon Monarch rushing over, he grinned and revealed a strange smile. What? Thousand Edge Demon Monarch stopped immediately. How is this possible? Blood Rain Demon Monarch was also shocked. Both of them had clearly seen that Blood Sword Master's soul had indeed been completely destroyed. But now, impossible. Your soul has already been completely destroyed by me. How is it possible that you're still alive? Blood Rain Demon Monarch's face was filled with incredulity. My soul will be destroyed and I'll die? Blood Rain Demon Monarch, aren't you being a little too arbitrary? Also, take a look and see if my soul has already been destroyed. Jian Wushuang smiled. Immediately, a surge of soul power swept out. Although this soul power was relatively weak compared to Thousand Edge Demon Monarch and Blood Rain Demon Monarch, it was undoubtedly Jian Wushuang's soul power. How could this be? Thousand Edge Demon Monarch's eyes widened. Could it be that legend? Blood Rain Demon Monarch suddenly thought of a possibility. Legend. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch immediately looked over. Legend has it that among the many special life forms born in the vast universe, there are special life forms that have reached the perfect level. Their souls have long been integrated into every part of their divine power, and they are known as immortal. Even if their souls are destroyed, they can still use some divine power to recover in an instant. Blood Rain Demon Monarch said in shock. A perfect life form? Thousand Edge Demon Monarch stared at Jian Wushuang. The legendary perfect life form takes a long time to be born in the vast universe, right? The probability is even rarer than that of a super genius who has comprehended a trace of universe principle in billions of star worlds. Is Blood Sword Master a cultivator at the level of a perfect life form? Even though I don't want to admit it, it seems that this is indeed the only explanation. Blood Rain Demon Monarch's expression was very grave. This Blood Sword Master has not only comprehended a trace of the universe principles at the level of a principles master. He is a supreme genius that is rarely seen in the trillions of star worlds. At the same time, he is a cultivator at the level of a perfect being that is even more vast than this kind of genius. When the two are combined, he can definitely be called the most heaven-defying supreme genius in the vast universe. Thousand Edge, this Blood Sword Master is a perfect life-level cultivator. It will be difficult for you to kill him and steal his treasure, said Blood Rain Demon Monarch seriously. Why? Even if he is truly a perfect life form, his soul can be destroyed and he can recover through divine power. However, every time he recovers his soul, he will use up a lot of divine power. He is trapped here and has no way to escape. As long as you use your soul attacks time and time again to deplete his divine power, sooner or later, his divine power will be exhausted. At that time, he will still die, said Thousand Edge Demon Monarch coldly. Hearing this, Blood Rain Demon Monarch smiled coldly. Thousand Edge, I'm afraid you don't know enough about the level of a perfect life form. Let me tell you, the reason why the level of a perfect life form is so heaven-defying is not only because this life form has an innate advantage, but also because of his vast divine power. Don't look at him as a principles master, but the extent of his divine power is definitely tens or even hundreds of times more vast than us rulers. That's right. If I use soul attacks again and again, I can indeed force him to use his divine power to repair his soul again and again. However, the amount of divine power he uses to repair his soul is very, very small. With his divine power, he can support him to repair his soul thousands of times or even close to 10,000 times. But what about me? Do you think that every time I use my soul attacks, I don't need to use my soul power? How dare you compare my soul power with the divine power of Blood Sword Master? Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch was stunned. Yes, Blood Rain Demon Monarch could force Jian Wushuang to use his divine power to repair his soul again and again by using his soul attack to annihilate Jian Wushuang's soul. However, Blood Rain Demon Monarch had also consumed a lot of his soul power. With his current soul strength, he could only use his soul attack to annihilate Jian Wushuang's soul dozens of times at most. Most of his soul power would be consumed, and Jian Wushuang's divine power would not be consumed much at all. I can't kill him. I can't kill him with my soul attack alone, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said in a deep voice. Blood Rain Demon Monarch was a top expert who had dominated the Eternal Dark Prison for so many years. But at this moment, he had to praise Jian Wushuang's terrifying life-saving ability. In terms of material attacks, Jian Wushuang's extremely powerful protective swordsmanship could not even break Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's most powerful move. In terms of soul, his soul was invincible from the very beginning because of his perfect life. In addition, the perfect life cultivator had an incomparably vast divine power foundation. Such a life-saving ability was truly heaven-defying. Although he was only a principles master, his life-saving ability could indeed run amok in this eternal dark prison. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch, if you really want to kill Blood Sword Master and take his principal true treasure divine sword, there are only two ways, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said in a deep voice. 2 ways? Which 2? Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch came to Blood Rain Demon Monarch's side and asked. The first one is soul attack. That's right. I can't kill him with my soul attack alone, but if you can hire hundreds of rulers who are good at soul attacks and take turns to attack Blood Sword Master's soul, you might have a chance to exhaust him, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said. Over 100 rulers who specialize in two-body attacks? Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch was startled, but he immediately shook his head. Impossible. Soul attacks are quite different techniques to begin with. Perhaps not even 1 out of 100 rulers will focus on soul attacks. Although there are over 100,000 prisoners in the 9th Dark Zone, the total number of those who specialize in soul attacks might not exceed 100. Most importantly, even if there are so many experts skilled in soul attacks in the 9th Dark Zone, the information in the Eternal Dark Prison is blocked. How can I invite all of them here in such a short period of time? Furthermore, to invite over 100 experts at once, these experts will definitely make some requests. Adding them all up, I'm afraid I can't afford the price. Then there is only the second method, which is to rely on material attacks. Blood Rain Demon Monarch said in a low voice. Although Blood Sword Master's protective sword technique is powerful, Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's strongest attack almost destroyed his protective sword technique. Therefore, as long as we can invite a cultivator whose attack power is 1 level higher than yours, it is possible to kill him. In terms of attack power, I can be considered one of the most powerful experts in the first level of Eternal Darkness Prison. Only the 10 overlords can be a level higher than me in terms of attack power. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch narrowed his eyes. However, there are countless experts in the first level of Eternal Darkness Prison. All of them have lived here for more than 100 chaos cycles, and they have all sorts of techniques. I only know one person. Although he isn't comparable to the 10 overlords, his strongest trump card is also his most powerful attack. In terms of power, he is comparable to the 10 overlords. Oh! Blood Rain Demon Monarch immediately looked over. Who is this person? The 87th Dark Region. 1000 Kills Emperor Lord. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch Lord said. It's him. Blood Rain Demon Monarch's expression changed. I've heard of him before. I know that he is publicly acknowledged as the #1 expert in the 87th Dark Region. It's also said that his combat strength can be ranked in the top 10 in the entire Demon Dragon region. Humph, that is because you do not know his strongest technique. I have seen him before. Once he uses his strongest technique, his power can be comparable to the 10 great monarchs. With him acting, he should be able to kill this Blood Sword Master. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch said. Then are you confident in inviting this 1,000 kills Emperor Lord over? Blood Rain Demon Monarch asked. I don't know, but I can give it a try. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch narrowed his eyes. In that case, I'll have to trouble you to continue using the array formation to trap Bloodsword Master. I'll personally make a trip to the 87th Dark Zone and invite 1,000 kills Emperor Lord over. I've dealt with 1,000 kills Emperor Lord before. This time I'll personally invite him over. I'll give him face and pay a certain price. There should be a chance to invite him over. It's just that the 87th Dark Zone is a little far away from the 9th Dark Zone. Even if I rush there at my speed and ask 1,000 kills Emperor Lord to come over, it would take at least several hundred years. Therefore, I can only trouble you, Blood Rain Demon Monarch, to continue trapping Blood Sword Master for several hundred years. Several hundred years? Blood Rain Demon Monarch nodded slightly. Since I agreed to help you, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, I will naturally do it to the end. It's only a few hundred years. I will keep him trapped. However, I have to make it clear that I can only wait here for 1,000 years at most. If you don't return from the 87th Dark Zone within 1,000 years, then don't blame me. 1,000 years is definitely enough. There's no time to lose. I will set off now, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch said. Then I'll wait here for your good news, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said with a smile. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch immediately left. Blood Rain Demon Monarch took a deep look at Jian Wushuang and then, with a slight sway of his body, merged into the surrounding formation. Jian Wushuang stayed in the final resting place of the formation, calmly watching Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch and Blood Rain Demon Monarch. However, when Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch and Blood Rain Demon Monarch were talking, he deliberately blocked the surrounding space. Jian Wushuang did not know what they were talking about. However, he did see Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch leaving. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch has left. Has he given up? Jian Wushuang's expression was strange. No, he hasn't given up yet. Otherwise, the surrounding formation would have also been removed. However, the formation is still there. Moreover, the principal supreme treasure divine sword in my hand is enough to make Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch give up at any cost. He shouldn't give up so easily. As for why he left now, maybe he's going to invite some other experts to come and join hands to kill me. Jian Wushuang had already guessed the purpose of Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's departure. It was obvious that Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch and Blood Rain Demon Monarch alone could not kill him. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch was not willing to give up, so he could only find a way to invite some other experts. Although he did not know who Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch invited this time, Jian Wushuang was not worried at all. Anyway, he had the token of a disciple of the Red Cloud lineage, so he could mobilize the power of the Eternal Dark Prison's formation to suppress everything at any time. In this case, there was nothing for him to worry about. He was not in a hurry to use the token of a disciple. Instead, he began to carefully observe the formation around him. Jian Wushuang walked to the surrounding void, but before he took 2 more steps, the void immediately began to rumble, followed by a large area of black flames surging toward him from all directions. These flames don't seem to be very strong. Jian Wushuang casually waved his sword. Although it was just a casual move, the power of the universe origin of sword principle and the trace of the universe principle was also extremely powerful. It directly cut open the sky full of surging flames. However, the black flames did not extinguish immediately. Instead, they burned even more vigorously and continued to surge toward Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang had no choice but to attack again. Whoosh! 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 Sword lights slashed out one after another. Although they easily cut through the surging flames, they could not extinguish them. The flames burned more and more vigorously, and the number of flames increased. This formation is a bit difficult to deal with. Jian Wushuang frowned. At this moment, Blood Rain Demon Monarch's figure suddenly appeared in the void around Jian Wushuang. It's useless. Blood Rain Demon Monarch looked at Jian Wushuang with a wicked smile. Blood Sword Master, although your protective ability and life-saving ability are heaven-defying, your own strength is too weak. This formation is carefully arranged by me. Although its offensive power is average, its ability to trap people is very impressive. Even if Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch is trapped in this formation, if I don't let him go, he will have to attack this formation many times with all his strength to break it. As for you, you won't be able to break my formation even if you attack it 10,000 times or 100,000 times. Jian Wushuang's face darkened. By the way, didn't you use a sword skill to trap your enemy? In fact, my formation is similar to the sword skill you used before. Your sword skill evolved into a sea of sword essence, which is endless. The black flames in my formation are also endless. The more you attack it, the more it will appear. Unless you can also use an extremely powerful attack to break my formation, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said with a smile. Upon hearing his words, Jian Wushuang continued to wave his divine sword to attack the black flames. It was just as Blood Rain Demon Monarch had said. Ha! Jian Wushuang, who was still waving his divine sword to cut through the black flames, suddenly widened his eyes. Formation? It's very similar to my wavelight swordsmanship. Even its conception is similar, and it's also used to trap enemies. Jian Wushuang muttered. At this moment, an idea suddenly emerged in his mind. To be exact, it was an idea. Formation. What if I also know how to use formation and integrate it into my sword art, such as changing the wavelight sword art into a wavelight sword formation? Jian Wushuang could not help thinking. Formation, and it was a sword art formation. This sword formation, which relied on the power of the formation, was stronger than his own swordsmanship, no matter what. And the Earth Guardian swordsmanship. If it could transform the swordsmanship into the Earth Guardian swordsmanship, would its defensive ability be stronger? This thought flashed through Jian Wushuang's mind. After thinking about it carefully, he realized that it was possible for him to be tactful. Since he created the Wavelight sword skill and the Earth Guard sword skill, especially the Earth Guard sword skill, Jian Wushuang had always felt that there was something missing in this sword skill despite its strong defensive ability. It was not truly perfect. He had always been eager to perfect the Earth Guard sword skill as much as possible and improve it to make it more durable and terrifying. However, Jian Wushuang had not been able to find a way to improve it, but now he was trapped in the formation of Blood Rain Demon Monarch. Coupled with the words of Blood Rain Demon Monarch just now, Jian Wushuang suddenly felt enlightened. He found a possibility to improve his swordsmanship. That was to use the power of the formation to improve his swordsmanship and transform it into a sword formation. A complete sword formation would definitely be more powerful than a simple swordsmanship. Haha! Blood Rain Demon Monarch's seemingly unintentional words actually helped me a lot. Yes, a sword formation. I can transform my swordsmanship into a sword formation. Moreover, with the formation set up by Blood Rain Demon Monarch, I can also feel many things from this formation. This way, it will be easier to improve it. A strange light flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes. He immediately sat down cross-legged and began to carefully feel the power of the surrounding formation. The black flames that filled the sky kept surging toward him. They were endless. Even if they were cut open, they would not be destroyed. Instead, they would become even more vigorous. These were all things that Jian Wushuang had to carefully experience. Time began to pass. Jian Wushuang had found a way to perfect his swordsmanship, so he was not in a hurry to leave the formation. Instead, he stayed in the formation and quietly meditated and experienced it. In the blink of an eye, 600 years had passed. During these 600 years, Jian Wushuang stayed in the formation and did not come out. Meanwhile, Blood Rain Demon Monarch had stayed here for 600 years. Although there were experts passing by, they immediately left in fear when they saw Blood Rain Demon Monarch. They did not dare to get close to him. No one knew what Blood Rain Demon Monarch was doing setting up the array formation here. So, two streams of light rushed over from the distant void at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, they had arrived at the void where Blood Rain Demon Monarch had set up the array formation. The streams of light dissipated, and two human figures slowly appeared in this world. I've finally arrived. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, whose face was like ice jade, had a smile on his face. Beside Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch was a tall, middle-aged man dressed in a loose robe. This tall, middle-aged man's gaze was cold and his entire body was filled with killing intent. He was Thousand Kills Emperor Lord. With Thousand Kills as his name, there was no doubt that he was a true killing god. Thousand Edge, the person you want me to deal with is here? Thousand Kills Emperor Lord asked. Yes, 600 years ago, he was already trapped here by me. During these 600 years, I had people use arrays to trap him. After that, I personally went to the 87th Dark Zone to invite you. Now, I've finally invited you over. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch smiled. It's also because you've paid a huge price. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered to accompany you on this trip. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch had his hands behind his back. At the same time, he gave Thousand Edge Demon Monarch a deep look. Thousand Edge, I've always been very curious. You went through so much trouble to come to the 87th Dark Zone to invite me, and you're even willing to pay such a huge price to kill him. What's so special about him? Or rather, why are you willing to spare no expense to kill him? Although Thousand Kills Emperor Lord had been invited here to kill a person for Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, he did not know the reason why Thousand Edge Demon Monarch wanted to kill him, and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch did not tell him the reason. You will soon find out why I killed him. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch smiled faintly. I'll first get Blood Rain Demon Monarch, who is controlling the array formation, to come out. Blood Rain. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch shouted loudly. Blood Rain Demon Monarch immediately walked out of the array formation. Thousand Edge, this must be the famous Thousand Kills Emperor Lord by your side. Blood Rain Demon Monarch smiled. Blood Rain Demon Monarch, it is rumored that you are good at arrays. In terms of arrays alone, there aren't many people in the entire Demon Dragon region who can compare to you. I finally met you today, Thousand Kills Emperor Lord said. He did not dare to be arrogant. Although in terms of strength, he was slightly stronger than Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, there were not many who were stronger. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch could fight him head-on, and Blood Rain Demon Monarch's array formation was impressive, so he was not afraid of him. The three met and exchanged greetings. Blood Rain, how is Blood Sword Master now? Thousand Edge Demon Monarch asked. Don't worry. For the past 600 years, he has been trapped in this array formation, but he has not taken a single step out, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said with a smile. That's good. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch was delighted. He has been trapped for 600 years. Has he been impatient? No, Blood Rain Demon Monarch shook his head. This Blood Sword Master is very strange. He has been trapped in my array formation for 600 years, but he is not anxious at all. Furthermore, from his actions over the years, it feels like he has been cultivating. Cultivating? Thousand Edge Demon Monarch was taken aback. Yes, he seems to be cultivating, but I don't know what he is cultivating. Blood Rain Demon Monarch said. Haha, it seems that this Blood Sword Master's attitude is really good. After being trapped within the array for 600 years, he isn't in a hurry at all, yet he is in the mood to cultivate. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch laughed coldly. But that's right. With such a powerful life-saving technique, he indeed has nothing to fear. It's just that he has yet to witness how powerful Thousand Kills Emperor Lord is. You two, let's enter the formation first. Let me see who you want to kill, the Emperor Lord said. Okay, let's enter the formation first. The Demon Monarch nodded. Blood Rain Demon Monarch immediately opened the entrance of the formation and the three of them entered the formation together. As soon as they entered the formation, the Demon Master saw Jian Wushuang sitting cross-legged somewhere in the void, surrounded by black flames. Although he forced his eyes to open, he still casually attacked the black flames. Ha! Thousand Edge Demon Monarch also noticed Jian Wushuang, but when he saw him, his pupils shrank. Principal's Master? Thousand Edge, the person you want to kill is just a Principal's Master. I'm ashamed. Blood Sword Master is indeed a Principal's Master. There's no doubt about that. However, his battle strength is very strong, and he's comparable to an ordinary third-level ruler. What's truly terrifying is his life-saving skills. Blood Rain and I have used all our skills, but we can't do anything to him. We can only let Blood Rain set up the formation and trap him here, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch said. Is that so? Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch understood and did not look down on Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch. He also understood that a principal's master must be extraordinary to be able to survive in the eternal dark prison until now. Now I finally know why you, Thousand-Edge, are so desperate to ask me to kill him. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch glanced at the Wuqi divine sword in Jian Wushuang's hand with a strange look in his eyes. Obviously, he had already seen through the divine sword in Jian Wushuang's hand and even the principal supreme treasure. Tisk TSK, the principal supreme treasure divine sword. If you, Thousand-Edge, can get this principal supreme treasure divine sword, your strength will definitely increase greatly. You might even be able to match the 10 kings. If I had known earlier, I would have offered a higher price. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch sighed softly. Thousand-Edge, we have already agreed. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch said. Don't worry. I, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, won't go so far as to raise the price. Since I've already promised you, I won't go back on my word. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch smiled faintly. You two will be by my side later. Watch how I kill him. Then Blood Rain and I will wait and see. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch also smiled. When Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, Thousand Kills Emperor Lord, and Blood Rain Demon Monarch entered the formation, Jian Wushuang immediately sensed their arrival. He immediately stopped what he was doing and looked up at them. Finally, you've invited helpers? Jian Wushuang glanced at Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch with a faint smile. Then, his eyes focused on the majestic middle-aged Thousand Kills Emperor Lord. May I know who you are? Blood Sword Master. Let me introduce you. This is Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, the publicly acknowledged #1 expert in the 87th Dark Zone. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch said. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch? Jian Wushuang's expression changed as he quickly recalled the information he had obtained from Demon Monarch Ancient Knight. However, it was clear that there was no such expert in the information given by Demon Monarch Ancient Knight. However, this was very normal. Demon Monarch Ancient Knight was only a ruler at the peak of the 2nd level. He could not be considered a peak expert in the 1st level of the Eternal Prison. The information he knew about the experts was mostly from the 9th Dark Zone. As for the entire Demon Dragon region, although he knew of the existence of some experts, there were many things he did not know. For example, Demon Monarch Ancient Knight did not know about the current Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch. The 87th Dark Area? Jian Wushuang could not help but sigh. The 108 dark areas of the Magic Dragon region are extremely vast. From the 9th Dark Area to the 87th Dark Area, there is an unknown distance between them. You, Thousand Kills Emperor Lord, actually went to the 87th Dark Area and personally invited this Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch over. It seems that you are very confident that he can kill me. Thousand Kills Emperor Lord's strength is ranked in the top 10 in the entire Demon Dragon region, and his strongest technique is incomparably tyrannical. If he can't kill you, then in the entire 1st level of the Eternal Dark Prison, only the 10 Supreme Monarchs can do anything to you. No matter what, you are only a principal's masters. I don't believe that your life-saving techniques are truly that amazing. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's gaze was cold. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, please make your move. A majestic killing intent instantly rose from Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's body. The intensity of this killing intent was shocking. Even the killing intent emitted by Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch when he used the heaven-punishing sword was not as strong as Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's own killing intent. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's name is Thousand-Edge, and his killing intent alone is shocking. I really want to know how many people he has killed in the Eternal Dark Prison. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. His expression had become extremely solemn. Thousand Kills Emperor Lord took out his divine weapon. His divine weapon was a blood-red axe. This blood-red axe exuded a cold and majestic aura. It was a supreme-grade, supreme true treasure. With a simple step, Thousand Kills Emperor Lord swung the blood-red axe in his hand down. First axe. The Emperor let out a low shout. The blood-red axe suddenly swept out, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a towering axe shadow that could split the heaven and earth. The axe shadow was blood-red and carried endless killing intent as it suddenly slashed down. What a terrifying power! The power alone is probably not weaker than the heaven-punishing sword that the demon master used with all his strength. Jian Wushuang's face was solemn. He waved the Wuqi divine sword in his hand, and it swept up the surging power of the principles of the earth. In the blink of an eye, a layer of Earth Guard sword domain was formed in front of Jian Wushuang. Just like how it had resisted Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch swordsmanship, there were a total of 51 layers of Earth Guard sword domain. Bang! 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 The blood-red shadow of the sky-reaching axe came crashing over, and the Earth Guard sword domain produced a series of heavy collision sounds. 43 of the 51 layers of Earth Guard sword domain directly collapsed, but there were still 8 that survived. Oh! 1,000 kills Emperor Lord's eyes narrowed. 1,000 kills Emperor Lord. This blood sword master's protective sword art is extremely powerful. When I used my strongest sword art, Blood Heaven Sword, I wasn't able to break through his protective sword art. Your first axe might be slightly weaker than my Blood Heaven Sword. Just this move alone isn't enough to break through his protective sword art. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch said. Protective sword art? I really want to see just how strong his protective sword art is. A bright light flashed in 1,000 Kills Emperor Lord's eyes as he took another step forward. Second axe. Boom! The world trembled as a shocking killing intent shot into the sky. 1,000 Kills Emperor Lord raised the blood-colored axe in both his hands. Instantly, 2 huge blood-colored axe shadows appeared in the air above him. The power of these 2 blood-colored axe shadows was not inferior to the first axe. However, at this moment, the 2 huge blood-red axe shadows merged directly. In an instant, an even more terrifying and majestic blood-red axe shadow took shape. Rumble! The blood-red axe shadow slashed down at Jian Wushuang again. This axe shadow is even stronger than the previous one. I'm afraid it's not weaker than Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's strongest sword, Blood Heaven Sword. Jian Wushuang sighed secretly. The 51 Earth Protection Sword domain in front of him took shape again. In the blink of an eye, the 2 blood-red axe shadows merged together to form an even stronger blood-red axe shadow, which directly hit the Earth Guard sword domain. This time, the Earth Guard sword domain received an unprecedented impact. The 51 levels of the Earth Guard sword domain collapsed in 49 levels in an instant. Even the 50th level of the Earth Guard sword domain collapsed along with it. However, the final 51 levels of the Earth Guard sword domain barely withstood the power of the axe shadow. In the end, it managed to block the axe shadow. Haha! My second axe is actually unable to completely break through this protective sword art. This protective sword art is indeed impressive. Since that's the case, let's see my third axe. 1,000 Kills Emperor Lord laughed loudly and took another step forward. He raised the huge axe in his hand. This time, 3 blood-colored axe shadows formed in the air above him. After the 3 blood-red axe shadows were formed, they immediately merged together at an amazing speed. In an instant, a destructive aura spread out. The third axe, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch shouted. This axe was like a star-splitting, moon-cleaving strike. It was even more terrifying than the second axe. Covered Jian Wushuang. This axe is even stronger than the second axe. I'm afraid that my 51 Earth Sword realms alone won't be able to resist it. It seems that I'll have to rely on my new skills. Jian Wushuang smiled and waved his hand. The Wuqi divine sword flew through the void in a special trajectory. Suddenly, a large amount of power of Earth principles rose up. The power of Earth principles, together with the majestic universe origin of sword principle, also began to condense. However, the process of condensing this time was obviously different from the previous Earth Sword realms. An endless essence spread out, and the same layers of Earth Sword realms began to condense. However, these Earth Sword realms overlapped in a special way to form a sword array. This was the Earth Guardian sword formation that Jian Wushuang had studied and improved for 600 years in the formation set up by Blood Rain Demon Monarch. This sword formation was based on the Earth Guardian sword art and contained the power of the formation. Of course, Jian Wushuang's understanding of the formation was not very high, so this sword formation was only average, but it was still enough to make the original Earth Guardian sword art stronger in terms of its protective power. Moreover, after 600 years of meditation, Jian Wushuang had made some progress in the Earth Guardian swordsmanship. Although he had just condensed 51 Earth Sword realms, in fact, he could already condense 52 Earth Sword realms. Now, the Earth Guardian sword array formed by the condensation of 52 Earth Sword realms had taken shape. After 600 years of meditation, the improved Earth Guardian sword formation is nearly twice as powerful as the Earth Guardian sword art, which was only at the 51 Earth Sword realms. I wonder if the third axe of Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch can defeat my sword formation. Jian Wushuang's eyes were filled with anticipation. Finally, the third axe of Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch collided with his Earth Guardian sword formation. At that moment, Jian Wushuang immediately felt a huge impact on the sword formation. The entire sword formation shook crazily as if it was about to collapse. More than half of the 52 Earth Sword realms collapsed in an instant. However, the biggest difference between sword formations and swordsmanship was the ability to repair the formation. While the Earth Sword realm collapsed, the entire sword formation continued to repair the Earth Sword realm. This made the power of the axe shadow sweep up, and it was no longer as easy as before. Finally, the power of the third axe was completely exhausted, and the huge axe shadow disappeared into thin air. Although Jian Wushuang's Earth Guard sword formation had suffered unprecedented damage, the entire sword formation had been shattered by 80 to 90%, and the 52 layers of Earth Sword realm had also collapsed by 51 layers. However, it was still able to withstand the power of the axe. It was actually blocked? Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch was extremely surprised. The third axe of Thousand Kills Emperor Lord is even stronger than my Blood Heaven sword, but it wasn't able to destroy his protective sword art? The protective sword art of Blood Sword Master seems to be stronger than before. He's gotten stronger. Blood Rain Demon Monarch nodded solemnly. I can see that his protective sword technique contains an array formation. Although that array formation is still relatively young, after combining it with his own sword technique, its defensive ability has greatly increased. This Blood Sword Master has been trapped in my array formation for 600 years. During these 600 years, I didn't understand what he was doing, but now I understand. He's using my array formation to perfect his sword arts, and now, he has already reached a certain level of success. Freak. In just a short 600 years, and in a place like the Eternal Dark Prison, his sword arts have actually improved. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's gaze was frighteningly cold. As for Thousand Kills Emperor Lord, he was currently laughing out loud. Haha. No wonder even Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch couldn't do anything to you. He could only go to great lengths to come to the 87th Dark Region to invite me. Your protective sword arts are indeed impressive. Even in the entire first level of the Eternal Dark Prison, it can be said to be one of the best. However, this is more interesting. It also shows the value of Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch paying such a huge price to invite me. Thousand Kills Emperor Lord. This Blood Sword Master's protective sword array is very impressive, but it definitely can't block your fourth axe, Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch said. He had personally seen Thousand Kills Emperor Lord use his fourth axe. That power was truly earth-shaking. My fourth axe has been upgraded from the previous third axe. Its power is more than double that of the third axe. No matter how strong the Blood Sword Master's protective sword art is, it will definitely not be able to block it. However, this fourth axe of mine won't be easy to use. Right now, in order to repay the benefits you have given me, I can only use it. Thousand Kills Emperor Lord smiled calmly, however. His hands suddenly turned blood red. Everything he saw was blood red. Fourth axe. Thousand Kills Emperor Lord gritted his teeth and let out a fierce roar. He raised the blood axe high up in the air. For huge blood-red axe shadows gathered in the air above him and fused together at the fastest speed. Rumble. The giant axe suddenly descended. Suddenly, the entire world became dark. The world was covered in darkness without a trace of light. In the darkness, only the emperor and his giant axe were left. Jian Wushuang stood in front of the emperor and felt the power of the axe. He could not help but be shocked. What a terrifying power! I feel like I can't resist it even before it gets close. This axe is much more terrifying than the previous 3 axes. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up, and then he burst into laughter. Ha! If you want to break my protective sword formation, then come at me. Jian Wushuang was not afraid at all. He released his divine power to the maximum, and in an instant the principles of the earth filled the sky with a rich sword principle universe origin. In the blink of an eye, a total of 52 Earth Guardian sword domains formed in front of him. These 52 Earth Guardian sword domains overlapped in a special way to form the Earth Guardian sword array. At this moment, Jian Wushuang unleashed his protective means to the extreme to receive the 4th axe of Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch. Finally, the giant axe in the endless darkness descended. Bang! 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 Violent explosions sounded continuously. Almost instantly, more than half of Jian Wushuang's Earth Guard Sword formation exploded. One layer of Earth Guard Sword formation collapsed one after another, but it was recovering as much as possible under the power of the formation. However, the 4th axe of the 1000 Kills Emperor Lord was the most terrifying killing move and trump card of the 1000 Kills Emperor Lord. Back then, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch had said that the power of this axe was definitely comparable to that of the 10 Supreme Rulers. His words were definitely not groundless. The strongest 4th axe that the 1000 Kills Emperor Lord had used with all his strength was indeed no weaker than the 10 Supreme Rulers in terms of offensive power. The terrifying power contained in this axe was more than twice as strong as the 3rd axe. Jian Wushuang had relied on the Earth Guardian sword formation to withstand the 3rd axe just now. Now, under the 4th axe, although the Earth Guard sword formation tried its best to hold on, it could only hold on for a moment. Boom! With a loud sound, the entire sword formation completely collapsed and the 52 levels of the Earth Guard sword domain were all shattered. Jian Wushuang's strongest protective sword skill was shattered head-on. It's collapsed. It's finally gone? The eyes of Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch and Blood Rain Demon Monarch lit up when they saw this. The Earth Guard sword formation could not block the 4th axe, but it greatly weakened the power of the 4th axe. The remaining power of the 4th axe directly hit Jian Wushuang's divine body, which was weakened by the dark gold magic dragon armor. However, a lot of power still hit Jian Wushuang's body. Suddenly, humph! Jian Wushuang snorted and a trace of blood flowed out of the corner of his mouth. He suddenly retreated to the edge of the formation before he regained his balance. He stood there, staring at Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch with an unprecedentedly serious expression. I'm injured. I'm actually injured? Jian Wushuang felt his divine body. He had indeed been injured and lost a lot of divine power under the attack of the axe. However, since he created the sword skill Earthguard, he had never been injured in a head-on fight with anyone because almost no one could break his Earthguard sword skill, not to mention that he had the protection of the most powerful supreme treasure armor, the dark gold magic dragon armor. Moreover, his divine body, which was comparable to an ordinary supreme treasure, was extremely powerful because he had cultivated the supreme eternal celestial body. It was easy to imagine the power of the blow from Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch. Jian Wushuang was only surprised that he was injured, but the 3 people standing in front of him, including Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, Demon Master 1000 Kills, and Blood Rain Demon Monarch, were stunned. What's going on? It's fine that he's not dead, but how come his aura hasn't weakened much? Didn't my axe injure him severely? Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch frowned. His aura has weakened a little, but it hasn't weakened much. It's obvious that Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's axe didn't do much damage to him. Blood Rain Demon Monarch said seriously. How is this possible? How could this happen? Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch was extremely shocked and angry. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's strongest blow is as powerful as the 10 strongest kings. How could he be so lightly injured by such an attack? Jian Wushuang was injured. This was the truth, and blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. However, Jian Wushuang's aura had not weakened much. It was obvious that his injury was not serious. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's strongest axe is indeed impressive. I've been meditating in this formation for 600 years and improved the Earthguard swordsmanship. I think my body protection ability is superb, but I can't withstand your axe. But how many times can you use your strongest axe? Jian Wushuang said with a teasing smile. He looked over. 1,000 kills. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch immediately looked at 1,000 kills Emperor Lord. 1,000 kills Emperor Lord's face was dark. Thousand-Edge, let me tell you the truth. The strongest axe of mine isn't easy to use. Every time I use it, it's a huge burden to me. Even if I don't care about anything else, I can only use it 5 times. If I do that, I'll have to heavily injure myself and won't be able to recover to my peak strength within a short period of time. But look at the injuries he sustained. They aren't of any importance. Even if I use my strongest axe 5 times in a row, his divine power will most likely be depleted by less than 10%. There's nothing I can do to kill him. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch did not want to try again. It was normal. He could tell that Jian Wushuang was not seriously injured by the axe. Such an attack might not be able to kill him even if he tried 50 times, let alone 5 times. However, he was afraid that he would lose half his life if he used his strongest axe 5 times. It was impossible for him to use it 50 times. This is too abnormal. Blood Sword Master's protective life-saving ability is simply incredible. Not only does he have such an amazing protective sword technique, but he is also a perfect life-level cultivator. His divine power is boundless. I reckon that his divine body must have cultivated some special body-refining secret techniques. He is also extremely powerful. With all of these added together, I'm afraid that the 10 supreme rulers would have to act personally to kill him. Blood Rain Demon Monarch exclaimed from the side. Could it be that we can only kill him if we ask the 10 supreme rulers to do it? Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch was also in despair. Ask the 10 supreme rulers? That was right. If one of the 10 supreme rulers were to do it himself, he might indeed be able to kill Blood Sword Master. After all, although 1,000 kills Emperor Lord's strongest axe was comparable to the 10 supreme rulers in terms of attack power, its weakness was very obvious. It could not be used continuously, and even if he were to risk his life, he could only use it 5 times. However, the 10 supreme rulers were different. Their casual attacks were comparable to 1,000 kills Emperor Lord's strongest attack. In other words, their normal attacks could injure the Blood Sword Master, and that normal attack, the 10 supreme rulers could attack many times. If the 10 supreme rulers used their trump cards or powerful killing moves, they could heavily injure the Blood Sword Master and naturally have the confidence to kill him. But the key question was, could Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch ask the 10 supreme rulers to help him? In the space of the first level of Eternal Dark Hell, the 10 supreme rulers were high and mighty. Even if Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch used all his wealth, he might not be able to ask Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch to help him. And even if he was lucky enough to get a supreme ruler, if that supreme ruler knew that Blood Sword Master had a principal true treasure sword, he would want it for himself immediately. He would not care about Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch anymore. After all, it was a principal true treasure sword. Even if that monarch was not good at sword Dao, the value of this principal true treasure sword was far beyond what Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch could pay. There was another point. Eternal Dark Prison already had 10 rulers. These 10 monarchs were also fighting each other, but neither could do anything to the other. This had formed a balance, and it had been so for a long time. Once Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch obtained the principal supreme sword, he could become the new king. At that time, the balance in the first level of Eternal Darkness Prison would be completely broken. The 10 kings knew this, so why would they help Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch to get the principal supreme sword in Jian Wushuang's hand? Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's mind was full of complicated thoughts. He had never expected that a mere principal's master would be so difficult to deal with. He had paid a huge price to invite 1,000 kills Emperor Lord, but in the end, he could not do anything to him. That principal true treasure godly sword was clearly in Blood Sword Master's hands, yet he could not snatch it from him. There was a chance for him to become a ruler, yet he could only watch and not get it. Thousand-Edge, give up. You can't ask a ruler to help you, but you have to admit that you can't kill this Blood Sword Master. Blood Rain Demon Monarch advised. Yes, you are destined to have no fate with this principal true treasure sword. However, if you are really unwilling, you can make another trip to find Demon Dragon Horde leader and tell him that Blood Sword Master has the principal true treasure sword. Although Demon Dragon Horde leader can't give you the principal true treasure sword, he will at least give you some benefits. As a reward, you can make up for some losses, 1,000 kills, Emperor Lord said. Both of them understood that Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch had paid a huge price to ask them to come and help him this time, but he still could not get the principal true treasure godly sword in Blood Sword Master's hands. He must be unwilling, however, the truth was right in front of them. They could not do anything to Blood Sword Master. Now, they could only persuade Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch to stop. His face was extremely gloomy. Hearing their words, he remained silent. At this moment, Jian Wushuang, who was in the center of the formation, slowly approached the three experts. Why do you three want to stop? Jian Wushuang stood in front of the three experts with a mocking smile on his face. Blood Sword Master, you are very powerful. Even the most powerful axe of Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch could barely hurt you. You have the ability to protect your body. As long as the 10 kings don't come out, you will be invincible in the first level of Eternal Dark Prison. The three of us really can't do anything to you. At most, we can only trap you forever, said Blood Rain Demon Monarch. Then keep me trapped and then continue to look for more experts or simply find more people such as experts like Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch. If 2 or 3 more experts join hands, they might be able to kill me. Jian Wushuang smiled. Ha! Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch could not help looking up. If 2 or 3 more experts like Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch joined hands. Humph! Don't think that I don't know that you want me to use the array formation to continue trapping you, while you can use my array formation to continue perfecting your sword arts. With the rate at which you have improved over the past 600 years, if you are given enough time, your protective sword arts will become even more tyrannical. At that time, I'm afraid that even if the Emperor came personally, he wouldn't be able to do anything to you. Even if Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch really invited some experts, when the time comes, I'm afraid he won't be able to do anything to you. On the contrary, the price he has to pay will be even greater. Blood Rain Demon Monarch coldly snorted. Blood Rain Demon Monarch's words extinguished the glimmer of hope that had just risen in Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's heart. Indeed, just from the relaxed look of Blood Sword Master, it was clear that he had nothing to fear. He even hoped that Blood Rain Demon Monarch would invite experts from other places and let Blood Rain Demon Monarch continue to maintain this array formation. Blood Sword Master could continue to use the array to improve his swordsmanship. In the previous 600 years, Blood Sword Master's swordsmanship had improved tremendously. If he was given another 600 years or more, who knew what level his swordsmanship would reach? And Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch had to invite those experts one by one. Each expert had to pay a huge price. For example, he had to pay a huge price to invite 1,000 kills Emperor Lord. If he invited 2 or 3 experts that were comparable to 1,000 kills Emperor Lord, he might not even be able to hire them even if he emptied his entire fortune. If he really had to hire those great beings at all costs, but he still could not do anything to Blood Sword Master, then he would have suffered a great loss. Thousand Edge, you should listen to 1,000 kills Emperor Lord now and go find Demon Dragon Horde leader. This way you can make up for some losses. As for this principal true treasure godly sword, don't even think about it, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's eyes flashed with unwillingness. After all, he was an expert who had roamed the Eternal Dark Prison for so many years. So he quickly calmed down. He said in a low voice, I can't get the nomological true treasure sword, but Magic Dragon Lord is not a good person. I'd rather suffer heavy losses than let him have it for free. Oh! Blood Rain Demon Monarch glanced at Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch and nodded slightly. Since you've made your choice, then it's up to you. I'll withdraw the surrounding formations. Withdraw. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch looked helpless. Blood Rain Demon Monarch immediately waved his hand, and a special power spread out. The great formation that had been trapping Jian Wushuang for 600 years slowly dissipated. The formation has been withdrawn? Are you really going to stop? Jian Wushuang frowned. He really hoped that Blood Rain Demon Monarch could continue to maintain the formation so that he could continue to comprehend and improve his swordsmanship. However, the 3 people in front of him did not have the patience. Blood Sword Master, you're good this time. Let's go. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch gave Jian Wushuang a deep look and turned to leave. Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord also stared at Jian Wushuang for a long time. It was obvious that they had already remembered this principal's master. The three of them knew that they could not take down Jian Wushuang and had planned to leave, but Jian Wushuang was not willing to do so now. "Wait! Don't leave so quickly!" Jian Wushuang suddenly shouted and stopped them. The three rulers all turned around. "Blood Sword Master, I've decided to let you go. What else do you want?" Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch stared at Jian Wushuang with anger in his eyes. He had suffered a great loss at the hands of Demon Dragon Lord, so he would rather suffer a great loss than let Demon Dragon Lord take advantage of him. But at the same time he hated Jian Wushuang. He hated that Jian Wushuang did not give him the principal supreme treasure, the divine sword, and that his body protection ability was so strong. Now that he had decided to leave, was Blood Sword Master still not satisfied? Did he really think that he was so patient and did not know what was good for him? "Ha! You are going to let me go, but I may not let you go." Jian Wushuang laughed. "Take a look at what I have in my hand." With that, he took out an item. What did he take out? Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch, Blood Rain Demon Monarch, and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord all looked at the item in Jian Wushuang's hand. They were indeed frightened out of their wits. "It's a disciple token. A disciple token of the Red Cloud lineage." He has a disciple token of the Red Cloud lineage in his hand. Is he a disciple of the Red Cloud lineage? It's over, it's over. Run! Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch roared hysterically. The three experts had been in the Eternal Dark Prison for more than 100 chaos cycles. Logically speaking, they had encountered all kinds of risks. Even though they were nervous when facing the 10 rulers, they would not be too frightened. After all, with their strength, even the 10 rulers would not be able to kill them easily. But now, when they saw the token of the disciples of the Red Cloud lineage, they felt an unprecedented fear. They had not felt this kind of fear for hundreds of chaos cycles. Without hesitation, the three of them immediately used their most powerful life-saving skills and fled in different directions. It was obvious that they were hoping to escape. However, Jian Wushuang had deliberately approached the three of them because he had prepared for this moment. The three rulers were too close to Jian Wushuang. Even if they reacted immediately when they saw the token in his hand and fled, the distance of the burst was still within Jian Wushuang's control. With a thought, Jian Wushuang directly activated the power of the Eternal Dark Prison's formation. Rumble! The majestic power mercilessly crushed down. This power was absolutely supreme in the Eternal Dark Prison, and no one could contend with it. The power simultaneously affected the three rulers who were fleeing. The three rulers immediately stopped, and then they were pressed down to the ground. They were restrained by the power of the formation and could not move at all. "Thousand Edge, you're harming me. You're harming me." Blood Rain Demon Monarch screamed crazily. "Thousand Edge, you invited me here to deal with the disciples of the Red Cloud faction? Bastard, you've harmed me badly." Thousand Kills Emperor Lord roared furiously as his eyes widened. The two of them hated Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch to death. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch had originally invited them here to deal with a powerful principal's masters. They did not expect him to have such a shocking identity. He was a disciple of the Red Cloud lineage. The Eternal Dark Prison was created by the Red Cloud lineage. The disciples of the Red Cloud lineage had supreme authority in the Red Cloud lineage. Even though they were stronger than the Blood Sword Master, the Blood Sword Master could easily use the power of the array to suppress them in the Eternal Dark Prison. Now, they were suppressed by the other party and could not move. Their lives were completely controlled by the other party. He is actually a disciple of the Red Cloud lineage? Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch was also in a daze at this moment. It was obvious that he had yet to regain his senses. After hearing the resentful voice of Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord, he immediately roared. "I don't know his identity either. If I knew, why would I be so stupid to come and deal with him?" Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch was feeling bitter. He did not know Jian Wushuang's real identity, and that he was a disciple of the Red Cloud lineage. If he had known earlier, He would not have dared to lay his hands on Jian Wushuang's principal-type supreme treasure, the divine sword? Even if he had invited Demon Dragon Lord and Demon Dragon Lord, he would have been courting death in front of Blood Sword Master, let alone him. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang had already arrived in front of the three rulers. The three rulers were suppressed by the power of the formation and could not move. They could only raise their heads to look at Jian Wushuang. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, Blood Rain Demon Monarch, and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord. Jian Wushuang looked down at the three rulers with a faint smile. Do you still want to kill me? Hearing this, the three rulers were extremely angry. Blood Rain Demon Monarch said, Blood Sword Master, we didn't expect you to be a disciple of the Red Cloud lineage. No wonder you were so fearless from the beginning. I see. The Red Cloud lineage has not been to the Eternal Dark Prison for hundreds of chaos cycles. No new prisoners have been imprisoned in the Eternal Dark Prison for hundreds of chaos cycles. There have been rumors in the Eternal Dark Prison that the Red Cloud lineage has been completely destroyed and the Eternal Dark Prison has been abandoned. But now it seems that this is not the case. Thousand Kills Emperor Lord said in a deep voice. The rumors are true. The Red Cloud lineage has been destroyed. As for me, I was lucky enough to enter the Red Cloud world and pass the test. That's how I became a disciple of the Red Cloud lineage, Jian Wushuang said. Is that so? The three rulers understood one after another. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch, I actually hoped that you could invite some other experts and let Blood Rain Demon Monarch continue to trap me with the formation. Not only can I continue to study and improve my swordsmanship, but the more experts you invite, the more I'll be able to suppress. Jian Wushuang smiled. Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch looked miserable and did not speak. All right, now it's your turn to choose. Surrender or die. Jian Wushuang's face turned cold. The three rulers' expressions changed. When Jian Wushuang used the power of the formation but did not kill the three of them immediately, they had guessed that Blood Sword Master did not want to kill them directly. Now it seemed that he did. Blood Sword Master, what do we have to pay if we choose to submit? Blood Rain Demon Monarch asked. It's simple. You just have to give up the soul defense and let me leave a mark in your soul origin. Of course, as a condition, I will take you out of the Eternal Dark Prison and return to the universe. In addition, I can swear to the universe principles now. As long as you submit to me, I will remove the soul mark and set you free in 100,000 years. Jian Wushuang said directly. 100,000 years? Vow to the universe principles? The eyes of Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch lit up. 100,000 years was too short for prisoners who had been trapped in the Eternal Dark Prison for hundreds of chaos cycles and could not see the light of day for the rest of their lives. They did not care about such a short period of time. What they cared about was the soul brand. Once they gave up resisting and let Jian Wushuang leave a brand in their soul origin, their lives would be in the other party's hands. This feeling of being controlled by the other party's life and death would be unacceptable. However, it was only 100,000 years, but it was worth considering. Moreover, Jian Wushuang also added one more point, which was to swear an oath to the universe principle. It must be known that the universe principle was supreme, and that was the universe principle in the universe. Jian Wushuang himself had comprehended a trace of the universe principle. If it was an ordinary oath, it would be fine if he did not follow it. But if he swore an oath to the universe principle once he made it, it would resonate with the universe principle. If he failed to keep the oath, the universe principle would not punish him, but when he comprehended the universe principle in the future, he would be more or less affected, and his comprehension speed would be slowed down or he would be blocked by various obstacles. For a super genius like Jian Wushuang who could comprehend a bit of the universe principle at the level of a principle's master, it was impossible for him to accept such a thing. Therefore, they were not worried that Jian Wushuang would not keep his promise. Gentlemen, I'll only give you one breath's time to think about it, Jian Wushuang said indifferently. There's no need to think about it. I'm willing to submit, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said directly. I'm also willing, Thousand Kills Emperor Lord said. Then, both of them looked at Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch at the same time. At this moment, Thousand-Edge Demon Monarch's face was terrifyingly gloomy. He stared at Jian Wushuang. He sneered and said, Blood Sword Master, I admit that you're very capable, but you want me to submit to you and even surrender my soul origin to be your dog? Dream on. Thousand Blade, a wise man submits to circumstances. It's only 100,000 years. It's better than losing your life. Thousand Kills Emperor advised. Yes, Blood Sword Master is a peerless genius. Not only has he comprehended a trace of universe principle at the level of a principle's master, but he's also a cultivator at the level of a perfect being. With such talent, he'll definitely become a supreme being in the universe in the future. It won't be difficult for him to become an autarch. It won't be shameful for us to submit to him, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said. Haha, I, Thousand Edge, have been imprisoned in the eternal dark prison for hundreds of chaos cycles. I have long forgotten about my own life. Unlike the two of you, I am not afraid of death. In order to survive, I am willing to submit to a principle's master. Humph, my death is easy. If you want me to submit, don't even think about it. As soon as Thousand Edge Demon Monarch finished his words, his face immediately contorted. His eyes were filled with madness and determination. Is his soul burning again? Jian Wushuang looked at him calmly. Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord did not try to persuade him. They both sensed Thousand Edge Demon Monarch's determination and could not stop his soul from burning. In the end, under the watchful eyes of Jian Wushuang, Blood Rain Demon Monarch, and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord, Thousand Edge Demon Monarch's aura gradually weakened and eventually died. After his death, Jian Wushuang casually took away the armor and interspatial ring on his body. Then Jian Wushuang looked at Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord and said, "You too, don't resist." Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord obediently allowed Jian Wushuang's soul power to enter their consciousness and soon left a mark in the soul origin of their consciousness. After doing all this, Jian Wushuang untied them. "Get up," Jian Wushuang said calmly. Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch got up. They looked at each other and then bowed. Blood Rain greets Master. Thousand Edge greets Master. Get up. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and looked at the two extremely respectful people in front of him. He smiled. He came to Eternal Prison to improve his strength and to subdue some experts from Eternal Prison to fight for the Divine Beginning Realm. The first prisoner he met in the Eternal Dark Prison was Master Ce. He tried to subdue him, but the latter burned his soul and refused to submit. This dealt a heavy blow to Jian Wushuang. Later, he did not use the power of the formation to train himself. It was not until now that he used the power of the formation to suppress the three top experts, including Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, Blood Rain Demon Monarch, and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord. He had learned his lesson last time. This time, he took the initiative to swear an oath to the universe principles. He wanted the other party to believe that he would not go back on his words. As expected, both Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord chose to submit to him. These two masters were the top existences in the Eternal Dark Prison. For example, Thousand Kills Emperor Lord's combat strength was probably only second to the 10 Kings. Although Blood Rain Demon Monarch's combat strength was not comparable to Thousand Kills Emperor Lord's, his attainments in the Tao of formation were extremely high. Moreover, he needed Blood Rain Demon Monarch's formation to perfect his sword formation. These two slaves were very useful to him. "This is a dangerous place. Let's find a quiet place and talk about it in detail," Jian Wushuang said. "Yes." Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord nodded. Half a day later, the three of them opened a cave mansion in a deserted mountain. In the cave mansion, Jian Wushuang sat on a stone bench while Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord stood respectfully in front of him. They had already submitted to Jian Wushuang, and there was even a trace of Jian Wushuang's mark in their soul origin. Their lives and deaths were under Jian Wushuang's control, so they had become slaves. As slaves, they naturally had to be aware of being slaves. Thousand Edge, Blood Rain. Take out all the supreme treasures except the ones you use, Jian Wushuang instructed. Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch knew each other. Without hesitation, they waved their hands, and numerous supreme true treasures immediately appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. So many! Jian Wushuang looked at the pile of supreme true treasures and was secretly surprised. There must be hundreds of supreme true treasures, right? However, Jian Wushuang soon understood. After all, he had only killed a master at the peak of the second level, but he had dozens of supreme true treasures. As for Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, they were much stronger than Master CE. They had been in the Eternal Dark Prison for so many years, so they had killed more experts than Master CE, so they must have more supreme treasures. In the Outer Star Field, countless experts would go crazy for an ordinary supreme treasure. But in the Eternal Dark Prison, there are so many ordinary supreme treasures. Jian Wushuang shook his head. He no longer cared about ordinary supreme treasures. What he cared about now was at least supreme treasures. And now, Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch had brought out more than 20 supreme treasures. Jian Wushuang checked them one by one, and soon he locked onto one of the armors. The armor was called the Ice Soul Armor. It contained incredible power and was far superior to the dark gold magic dragon armor that Jian Wushuang was wearing. The dark gold magic dragon armor is only an ordinary supreme treasure. It's nothing compared to the supreme treasure armor. Jian Wushuang smiled. I'll take this Ice Soul Armor. As for the other supreme treasures, you can take them back. Master doesn't want any other supreme treasures? Blood Rain Demon Monarch was surprised. These supreme treasures are useless to me for the time being, except for the Ice Soul Armor. Jian Wushuang shook his head. Blood Rain Demon Monarch nodded, and immediately took back their supreme treasures with Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, leaving only the Ice Soul Armor behind. This Ice Soul Armor is a supreme grade supreme treasure armor, and it's extremely powerful. None of the supreme treasure armors I've obtained before are comparable to this Ice Soul Armor. In fact, this Ice Soul Armor was given to me by Thousand Edge Demon Monarch in order to ask me to help him, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Great beings like Blood Rain Demon Monarch, Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord had a lot of true treasures, but there were few top-tier ones. It's also mostly offensive weapons like precious armors and other types which are much rarer. Ice Soul Armor, just out of the many treasures they took out, is indeed the highest level of the kind. As for Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, he had paid a huge price to ask Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord to help him. He had already given away most of his supreme-grade supreme treasures, so he did not have much left. Jian Wushuang had checked Thousand Edge Demon Monarch's interspatial ring before, but there was nothing worth his attention. 1,000 kills, you should have a high-level special gem on you. Give it to me, Jian Wushuang said. Special gem? 1,000 kills Emperor Lord was stunned. I've killed countless experts in the Eternal Dark Prison over the years. I've obtained all kinds of resources and treasures from them, including many special gems. However, I only know a part of them and I don't know their level. How about this? I'll take out all the gems, and you can look for them yourself, Master. Sure. Jian Wushuang nodded. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch immediately put all the special crystals in his hand into an interspatial ring and handed them to Jian Wushuang. After taking the interspatial ring, Jian Wushuang scanned it with his consciousness and immediately saw a large amount of special crystals piled up like a mountain. There were too many of these special crystals. Not only were there many of them, but there were also thousands of different types. Jian Wushuang did not recognize 99% of these thousands of special crystals. Fortunately, he knew someone. Devil Flame. Which one of these gems is more attractive to you? Jian Wushuang asked. The reason why he asked the Emperor to take out all the special gems was that the Devil Flame soul body in the Blood-Red Gourd sensed an extremely high-level special gem on the Emperor. The Devil Flame was a member of the Gold-Devouring clan, so it had a very strong ability to sense all sorts of crystals. And the higher the level of the crystals, the stronger his senses would be. Don't worry, I'll look for it. The Devil Flame immediately began searching through the mountain of crystals. A moment later, Devil Flame found a crystal with a faint brown glow among the thousands of crystals. This crystal looked very ordinary to the naked eye, just like the stones on the ground. However, when Devil Flame saw this crystal, he was extremely excited. Green gold world stone, haha. It's actually a green gold world stone. Devil Flame's soul body laughed out loud in the blood-red gourd. Green gold world stone? Jian Wushuang's expression changed. Master, this green gold world stone is an extremely rare special crystal in the vast universe. It comes from a powerful race in the universe, the Green Gold Clan. The Green Gold Clan is very powerful and has many clansmen. They occupy a large territory in the universe. The Green Gold World Stone is the essence of the life of the Green Gold Clansmen. Under normal circumstances, only the Green Gold Clansmen who have reached the 4th level ruler or above can condense a Green Gold World Stone. The Green Gold World Stone has a wide range of uses. It can be used to refine weapons and elixirs, but it can also be used to cultivate secret skills. In short, it is very precious. Of course, although the Green Gold World Stone is precious, it is far inferior to the Blood Blaze Iron that you obtained, Master, said Devil Flame. Jian Wushuang also understood that although the blade disc he obtained contained very little Blood Blaze Iron, only about 5 kilograms of it, it was one of the most precious crystals in the vast universe, and its value was immeasurable. Even a supreme being would covet a 5-kilogram piece of Blood Blaze Iron. As for the Green Gold World Stone, only a 4th-level master of the Gold Blue Clan could condense one. In other words, there must be a lot of such crystals in the Gold Blue Clan, which, of course, could not be compared with the Blood Blaze Iron in terms of value. Although the Green Gold World Stone is not as valuable as the Blood Blaze Iron, if I can devour and absorb it, the gold-devouring divine body that I have been molding will be much more complete and helpful to you, Master. If I have more than a dozen gold-green world stones like this, my gold-swallowing divine body will be 10 to 20% complete. By then, my soul will be able to combine with the gold-swallowing divine body, and I will be able to recover some of my strength. When Master's enemy, Star Master Devil Cloud, comes, I should be able to resist him, Devil Flame said. Jian Wushuang's expression changed. Devil Flame had been subservient to Jian Wushuang for a long time. During this period of time, he had been quite diligent, and he already knew some things about Jian Wushuang. For example, Devil Flame knew about Jian Wushuang's importance to the Divine Beginning Realm and the Earth Devil Cloud Star of the Divine Beginning Realm. Moreover, Jian Wushuang had asked Devil Flame about the strength of Devil Cloud Star Master. Devil Flame had answered like this: Master, the Star Lord is a master of a 2nd-level astral world. In the vast universe, most of the people who can directly occupy a 2nd-level astral world and become the master of a 2nd-level astral world are not weak. Usually, they are masters of the 4th level, or even the peak of the 4th level, or even the 5th-level masters. Of course, the 2nd-grade astral world I'm talking about refers to the deeper parts of the universe, or some of the larger star fields in the universe. The 2nd-grade astral world master has this strength, but the star field that you're in, Master, is located at the edge of the universe. The level of the strong here is far inferior to some of the larger territories in the depths of the universe. That Devil Cloud Star isn't too far away from your star field, so it's definitely at the edge of the universe. The 2nd-grade astral world master at the border area is not as powerful. According to my estimation, that Devil Cloud Star Lord is very likely only at the 3rd-grade ruler level. However, his luck is heaven-defying after all. He actually took over the Divine Beginning Realm and became the Heavenly Tao of the Divine Beginning Realm. With the help of the Divine Beginning Realm, no matter how mediocre his aptitude is, his achievements will not be too low. In addition, he has been in closed-door cultivation all these years, and he has deliberately accelerated the evolution of the Divine Beginning Realm. It is obvious that he is preparing for his breakthrough. So, it's possible that the Star Master is only at the peak of the 3rd level. But once he comes out of seclusion, he must have made a breakthrough and reached the 4th level. This was Devil Flame's guess of the Star Master's strength. Devil Flame was a master of the ultimate level and had ventured into the depths of the universe. His knowledge was far beyond what he could compare with. Jian Wushuang believed that Devil Flame's guess about the strength of the Star Master was credible. Jian Wushuang could not fight against a master at the peak of the 3rd level or a master at the 4th level. Therefore, he had 3 ways to fight against the Star Master. The first way was to break through and become a master. This was the simplest and most direct way. As long as he broke through and became a master, he could immediately take over the divine beginning realm. The Star Master would not be able to stop him even if he was far away in the divine beginning realm. After that, even if he brought a large number of experts from Devil Cloud Star to kill them, Jian Wushuang and the others could hide in the divine beginning realm. Devil Cloud Star Master did not dare to come in at all. However, he was a perfect life-level cultivator. To break through to become a ruler from a principles master was many times more difficult than an ordinary principles master. Although his battle strength was extremely strong, he was comparable to a third-level ruler. He had even comprehended a trace of the universe principle, but it would take a long time for him to break through to a ruler. Devil Cloud Star Master could come out of seclusion at any time and directly attack the divine beginning realm. Jian Wushuang was not confident that he could break through to a ruler before his original body reached the divine beginning realm. The second way was to place his hopes on the eternal dark prison. There were countless experts in the eternal dark prison and countless rulers who had reached the third level. In the ninth dark area, there were thousands of rulers who had reached the third level. Among them, there were top experts like Thousand Edge Demon Monarch and Blood Rain Demon Monarch. The ninth dark area was only one of the 108 dark areas in the Magic Dragon Field. There were countless experts in the Magic Dragon Field, including kings like the Magic Dragon Lord. According to Jian Wushuang's guess, the 10 kings of the Eternal Dark Prison were at least at the peak of the third level. If they used their full strength or their trump cards, they could even reach the peak of the third level in the Eternal Dark Prison. He had absolute power and could easily subdue these experts. As such, he could completely rely on this method to subdue a large number of third-tier rulers in the Eternal Dark Prison. These third-tier rulers might not be as powerful as Devil Cloud Star Lord in a one-on-one fight, but if they work together with some battle formations or special formations, they might be able to fight against Devil Cloud Star Lord. Other than these two methods, there was also a final method to fight against Devil Cloud Star Lord. This method was the Devil Flame hidden in the blood-colored gourd. Devil Flame was an ultimate ruler. In terms of strength, it was much stronger than the Lord of the Devil Cloud Star. Even though it was only in the soul body state, its soul had already completely recovered. Moreover, its gold-swallowing divine body had already begun to be reconstructed. As long as it was reconstructed to a certain level, Devil Flame's soul body would be able to perfectly fit with the gold-swallowing divine body, thus possessing a certain combat strength when he was alive. According to Devil Flame's own words, as long as the gold-swallowing divine body could recover 10 to 20%, he would be able to use this divine body to barely display the combat strength of a fourth-level ruler. Moreover, with his experience when he was alive, he already had some secret techniques. Devil Cloud Master, who had just reached the fourth-level ruler realm, was definitely no match for him. Whether it's breaking through to the ruler realm or subduing a large number of experts in the Eternal Dark Prison, I can barely fight against Devil Cloud Master. However, it's still not enough to completely remove the threat from Devil Cloud Star. I can only restore Devil Flame's strength to a certain extent. It doesn't need much. With his experience and skills, he can kill Devil Cloud Master and then completely solve the crisis of Devil Cloud Star. Jian Wushuang thought. It seemed to Jian Wushuang that it was feasible to use the Devil Flame to kill Star Master Devil Cloud. Although he could not completely trust the Devil Flame, he was at least in control of its life and death. With this method, the Devil Flame would not dare to resist him. In order to recover the gold-swallowing divine body of the Devil Flame, he needed a large number of special gems, and the higher the level, the better. Blood Rain, take out all the special gems in your hand, Jian Wushuang instructed. Yes. Blood Rain Demon Monarch nodded and immediately counted the special gems in his hand before handing them over to Jian Wushuang. Devil Flame, I can devour the green gold world stone, Blood Rain, 1,000 kills, and all the special gems in my hand. In the following days, I will try my best to find more special gems for you. What you need to do is to improve your gold-devouring divine body as much as possible, Jian Wushuang said. Understood. Thank you, Master. Devil Flame was pleasantly surprised. After speaking to Devil Flame, Jian Wushuang looked at the two slaves in front of him again. Blood Rain, your attainments in the Tao of Formation are very high, and I just happen to be developing my sword skill into a sword formation. Although I have gained some understanding during the past 600 years in your formation and formed the most basic sword formation, the sword formation is too simple. Next, I need you and Thousand Edge to help me perfect my sword formation as much as possible, Jian Wushuang said. Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord looked at each other and laughed. Master, don't worry. Perhaps I can't guarantee anything else, but in terms of array formations, there are no more than 10 people in the first level of Eternal Darkness Prison who are stronger than me. Since Master wants to transform his sword techniques into a complete sword array, I can naturally help you, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said with a smile. I don't have a good understanding of the Tao of formation, but my offensive power is not weak. Master, if you want to test your sword formation, you can look for me, Thousand Edge Demon Monarch said. Okay. Jian Wushuang also smiled. Blood Rain, I'll show you the 2 sword formations that I've improved over the years. Look carefully and help me find as many principles as possible. Jian Wushuang immediately walked out of the cave mansion with his 2 slaves. In the void outside, Jian Wushuang directly began to show his 2 sword formations. First, of course, was the Wavelight sword formation. Hum 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 hum. A sea of sword essence swept out, filling the surroundings with an endless concept. The entire sea of sword essence was covered by a layer of formation. Once the Wavelight sword formation was activated, Blood Rain Demon Monarch, who was at the center of the sword formation, saw through the many principles in the Wavelight sword formation with just a glance. Master, although I haven't really experienced your sword formation, I've already seen 13 principles with just my eyes. 4 of them don't have much impact, but there are still 9 areas that clearly have a lot of room for improvement, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said. Oh! Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. His sword formation had just been used, and Blood Rain Demon Monarch had not really experienced its power yet, but he had seen so many principles with just one look, and there were 9 that had a lot of room for improvement. Sure enough, Blood Rain Demon Monarch, who is good at formations, can help me improve this sword formation. Jian Wushuang smiled. Blood Rain, you haven't felt the power of the sword formation. Now I will activate the sword formation for you. Feel it carefully. Jian Wushuang laughed, and immediately, the overwhelming sea of sword essence rushed toward Blood Rain Demon Monarch. Blood Rain Demon Monarch was caught in the attack of the sea of sword essence. He blocked the incoming sword essence at will, and at the same time, he found the principles in the formation. After finding the principles, he would further improve the sword formation according to Blood Rain Demon Monarch's suggestion. Naturally, Jian Wushuang's sword formation would be significantly improved. 30 years passed in the blink of an eye. During these 30 years, Jian Wushuang did not travel to other places in the 9th Dark Zone. Instead, he stayed in the same place. Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch stayed by his side. During the past 30 years, Jian Wushuang had been improving his 2 sword formations with the help of Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch. It had to be said that the improvement of the sword formation with the help of Blood Rain Demon Monarch was countless times faster than Jian Wushuang comprehending and improving the formation set by Blood Rain Demon Monarch alone. Previously, he had been comprehending the formation set by Blood Rain Demon Monarch alone for 600 years. In Jian Wushuang's opinion, it was still not as good as the improvement of 1 year with the help of Blood Rain Demon Monarch. After 30 years, the 2 sword formations of Jian Wushuang were worlds apart compared to 30 years. In the vast void, Jian Wushuang and Blood Rain Demon Monarch stood side by side. In the void in front of them, Thousand Edge Demon Monarch was standing there, bearing the impact of the surrounding sea of sword essence at the same time. They were both sea of sword essence, but now that the sea of sword essence was supported by the formation, its power was greatly different. Each wave of sword intent was enough to make an ordinary 3rd-level ruler go all out. The impact force contained in the waves of sword intent was enough to easily crush the divine body of an ordinary 2nd-level ruler. In terms of power alone, the sea of sword intent was dozens of times stronger than before. Although the 1,000 Kills Emperor Lord was powerful, he had to deal with the impact of the waves around him seriously when he was trapped in the sea of sword intent. The 1,000 Kills Emperor Lord, who was trapped in the Wavelight sword formation, kept swinging the blood-colored axe in his hand. With every swing of the axe, the 1,000 Kills Emperor Lord used all of his strength and released many blood-colored axe shadows. Only then did he manage to defeat the waves of sword intent that were surging around him. However, after the first wave was defeated, the second wave immediately followed. It was endless and never-ending. Even 1,000 Kills Emperor Lord felt as if he had fallen into an endless quagmire. Third axe. A shocking killing intent swept out from 1,000 Kills Emperor Lord's body, as 3 gigantic blood-colored axe shadows appeared in the air and fused together. The axe slashed down fiercely. 1,000 Kills Emperor Lord's third axe was already the strongest axe he could unleash without using his trump card. Even so, when the axe struck the surrounding wavelight sword formation, countless waves surged and collided with the power of the axe shadow. In the end, the power of the third axe took a lot of effort to break the wavelight sword formation. When the sword formation collapsed, the surrounding sea of sword essence naturally dissipated. Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch came to Jian Wushuang. Master, your light sword formation is more difficult to deal with than before. Even if I'm trapped in this sword formation and hit by the waves of sword essence, I have to deal with it seriously. If I'm trapped in it for a long time, I'll have a headache. Moreover, this sword formation is much stronger than the last time you used it. Last time, when you used this light sword formation, I could easily break it with my third axe. But this time, although I also broke it with my third axe, it was unusually difficult. I could even say that I barely broke it, Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch said. 30 years ago, when Jian Wushuang's wavelight sword formation had just taken shape, it posed no threat to the Emperor. The Emperor used his first axe, which was as powerful as the heaven-punishing sword of Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch, and destroyed the wavelight sword formation. However, after 30 years, the Emperor had to use his third axe to destroy the same wavelight sword formation. The sword formation was much stronger than it had been 30 years ago. With the help of Blood Rain and Thousand Edge, my sword formation has improved tremendously. Now, if an ordinary third-level master is trapped in my sword formation, the only thing he can do is to use life-saving means to escape. Otherwise, he will be trapped in the sword formation forever. As for trying to break it by force, even Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch, who was thought to be the best attacker in the 9th Dark Zone, couldn't do it, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. The most powerful attack of Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch was the Blood Heaven Sword, which was not as powerful as the second axe of Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch. Naturally, it could not break Jian Wushuang's wavelight sword formation. Of course, the wavelight sword formation is only a sword formation to trap the enemy. In terms of defensive skills, it is far inferior to my earth-protecting sword formation. That is the truly invincible sword formation, Jian Wushuang said with a strange light in his eyes. In the past 30 years, his 2 sword formations had made tremendous improvements. Compared to the sword formation of Wavelight, the sword formation of Earthguard had improved even more. Although Jian Wushuang could only condense 52 layers of Earthguard sword fields above the sword field of Earthguard, the same amount of Earth sword fields could be combined in different ways to form the sword formation of Earthguard. Its protective ability was much better than it was 30 years ago. 30 years ago, Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch used his strongest trump card, the 4th axe, which could defeat his Earthguard sword array head-on and injure him at the same time. But now, if Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch used the 4th axe again, Jian Wushuang could easily withstand it with the Earthguard sword array. Even the 4th axe could not shake the array at all. With these 2 sword formations in hand, Master, even if you don't rely on the tokens of the disciples of the Red Cloud lineage, you can definitely do whatever you want in the first level of Eternal Darkness Prison. Countless experts in the first level of Eternal Darkness Prison, even the 10 Supreme Rulers, will probably pay a heavy price to hurt you. As for killing you, even if the 10 Supreme Rulers risk half their lives, they may not be able to do it, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said with a smile. It's all thanks to your help over the past 30 years. Especially you, Blood Rain, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. He knew very well that the great progress he had made in the past 30 years had something to do with Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch. Master, your 2 sword formations have basically been perfected. Even I can't find any principles in them in a short time. In the future, if you want to further improve your sword formations, You can only find them by fighting with different experts, Blood Rain Demon Monarch said. Yes, I'm going to explore. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Blood Rain, Thousand Edge, I'm going to explore alone. As for the two of you, stay here and wait for me. When I plan to leave this eternal prison, I'll come back here and take you with me. Yes. Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch nodded respectfully. Jian Wushuang immediately left alone. After Jian Wushuang left, Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch stood side by side with different expressions in their eyes. Thousand Edge, it seems that our luck isn't too bad. At least this master of ours is quite polite to us. Blood Rain Demon Monarch said with a smile. Well, we both had no choice but to submit to him and even let him leave a mark in the soul origin. We thought that we would be miserable for the next 100,000 years, but now it seems that it's not that bad. At least this master of ours isn't an evil person. He also treats us as human beings. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch nodded. The two of them had lived in the eternal dark prison for more than 100 chaos cycles and had seen too much of the coldness and darkness of human nature. They had thought that after submitting to Blood Sword Master, she would make excessive demands on them. She would not even treat them as human beings and would casually order and scold them. For example, Blood Rain Demon Monarch was extremely beautiful and enchanting. She was even ready to give her body to Jian Wushuang for fun. But what happened? In the past 30 years, Jian Wushuang only asked them to help him improve his sword formation. He did not ask for anything else. Obviously, their master was a kind one. I'm really glad that we weren't like Thousand Edge back then, who would rather burn his soul to commit suicide than submit, Thousand Kills Emperor Lord said. Me too. Blood Rain Demon Monarch nodded with a smile. Thousand Edge is a little too stubborn. To be more precise, he's a little too arrogant and unwilling to submit to a principal's master. But he didn't think that Blood Sword Master was able to comprehend a trace of the universe principle, and he was already so powerful at the level of a principal's master. How great would he be in the future? It is not shameful to submit to such a great being. This Blood Sword Master is very polite to us. It has only been 100,000 years. What is there to be unable to endure? Furthermore, this Blood Sword Master has promised to bring us out of eternal dark prison. After 100,000 years, he will set us free. When that time comes, the universe will be so vast that we can go wherever we want. Haha, right now, I feel that being able to submit to this Blood Sword Master is actually an opportunity for both of us, said Thousand Kills Emperor Lord. Yes, I think so too. It's definitely worth it to be able to leave eternal dark prison after submitting to him for 100,000 years in exchange for real freedom. Blood Rain Demon Monarch's eyes were shining. If 30 years ago they were more or less reluctant to submit to Jian Wushuang, but they were forced by the situation. Now, 30 years later, they were no longer reluctant. On the contrary, they were extremely willing to accept this fact and even regarded it as an opportunity. In the 9th Dark Zone, after separating from Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Kills Emperor Lord, Jian Wushuang continued to wander around. Unlike before, he was now absolutely confident in his own strength. Even without the token of a disciple of the Red Cloud lineage, he had the ability to dominate the first level of Eternal Dark Prison. 3 days later, Jian Wushuang met an expert who was wandering alone, Ruler Wu Yan. Ruler Wu Yan was a third-level master who ranked in the top 100 among the experts in the 9th Dark Zone. His offensive power was extremely strong, his body protection ability was strong, and his speed was also good. If he fought in close combat, he could be said to have no weaknesses. However, the only weakness of Ruler Wu Yan was that his life-saving ability was a little weak and he did not have very powerful life-saving methods. You are Blood Sword Master? Ruler Wu Yan, who was wearing black armor and carrying a saber on his back, stared at Jian Wushuang with cold eyes. It said that you were targeted by Thousand Edge Demon Monarch not long after you roamed in the 9th Dark Zone. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch was searching for you, trying to take away your principal true treasure, Divine Sword. With his ability, he should have found you long ago, but you are still alive? Did you hand over your nomological true treasure sword to Thousand Edge Demon Monarch in exchange for your life? Ruler Wu Yan frowned slightly. Ruler Wu Yan, don't waste your time. Just attack. Jian Wushuang did not bother to explain further. You're courting death. Ruler Wu Yan's eyes turned cold. He transformed into a cold black blade and charged toward Jian Wushuang. A suffocating power also pressed toward Jian Wushuang. Knowing that ruler Wu Yan was powerful, Jian Wushuang did not intend to fight him directly. Instead, he waved the Wu Qi divine sword in his hand and the endless essence spread out. In an instant, a sea of sword essence filled every corner of the world, surrounding ruler Wu Yan in the center. I have encountered many experts throughout my journey in the 9th Dark Zone. I have fought with many masters of the 3rd level, but so far, I have never killed a master of the 3rd level purely with my swordsmanship. Ruler Wu Yan, you will be the first master of the 3rd level that I will kill with my own strength. Jian Wushuang's cold voice resounded in the air. It sounded like a joke to ruler Wu Yan. Haha, ridiculous. You want to kill me? Even the 5 strongest experts in the 9th Dark Zone might not be able to do it. What are you? You are just a principles master. You should be so arrogant and accept your death. Ruler Wu Yan shouted, his killing intent soared to the sky. However, he could not get close to Jian Wushuang at all. The surrounding waves of sword essence were rushing toward him crazily. The waves of sword essence were vast and mighty. With the support of the sword formation, the power of each wave was extremely strong. The power of each wave was not under the attack of an ordinary 3rd level master. Ruler Wu Yan's body was like a saber. It was extremely sharp, and he defeated the waves of sword essence that were rushing toward him. However, after defeating dozens of waves of sword essence, ruler Wu Yan's situation changed. How can this be? The waves of sword essence are as powerful as the attacks of a 3rd level master. But why do they seem endless and endless? And they are coming from all directions at the same time. I can only passively resist them. It's fine for a short period of time, but if it goes on for a long time, how can I resist them? Ruler Wu Yan's face was cold. He had sensed that Jian Wushuang's sword formation was difficult to deal with. Without hesitation, he immediately displayed his strongest move. His entire body turned into a black saber, which was 30 meters long and emitted a monstrous power. It directly hacked at the sea of sword essence in front of him. However, only a part of the sea of sword essence was destroyed by the dark saber. Immediately, a large amount of sword essence filled up and the sea of sword essence immediately recovered. What? Ruler Wu Yan was shocked. He realized that Jian Wushuang's sword formation was not only extremely difficult to deal with, but also extremely tough. His strongest attack could not break the sword formation completely. Since he could not break the sword formation, he could only be trapped in the sword formation and passively resist the impact of the waves of sword essence time and time again. He could not escape at all. His divine power was also being consumed at an alarming rate. Over time, more than half of his divine power had been consumed. Before it evolved into a wavelight sword formation, the wavelight sword art could trap people, but the waves of sword essence of the wavelight sword art were too weak. Any 3rd level ruler could easily resist them without using much divine power. At that time, even if I trapped a 3rd level ruler in the wavelight sword art, I would not be able to kill him. But now it's different, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. The wavelight sword formation evolved from the wavelight sword art was not only tough and hard to break, but the waves of sword essence were also very powerful. No 3rd level master dared to underestimate such power. They had to try their best to resist it, so it would consume a lot of their divine power. Like Wu Yan, who was trapped in the wavelight sword formation, he was now in an unprecedented predicament. He was very powerful in terms of offense, defense, speed, and other aspects, but he was not very good at those secret techniques or methods that he used to escape. He was trapped in the wavelight sword formation, so he could not directly break it, nor could he use his escape secret technique to escape from it. He could only remain trapped in the sword formation. He could only try his best to resist the waves of sword essence, which would consume a lot of divine power. However, if he did not resist, the waves of sword essence would hurt his divine body and consume more divine power. In short, no matter what choice he made, his divine power was constantly being consumed. However, Jian Wushuang, on the other hand, had many suggestions from Blood Rain Demon Monarch. After he made improvements, he had been maintaining the light sword formation, which consumed less divine power than before. In addition, his own divine power was nearly 100 times more majestic than that of an ordinary ruler. Under such circumstances, even if he continued to use the light sword formation for more than half a day, his divine power would still be abundant. However, ruler Wu Yan would not be able to withstand it. No, no! Mercy, Blood Sword Master! Spare my life! Ruler Wu Yan began to beg for mercy frantically. He had no choice but to beg for mercy. His divine power was constantly being consumed by the sword formation. By now, more than 80% of his divine power had been used up, and he was about to use up 90%. If this continued, he would definitely die. Begging for mercy? Jian Wushuang smiled coldly. If the one begging for mercy was a ruler at the level of Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, Jian Wushuang might have spared him and forced him to submit to him. However, ruler Wu Yan was much weaker than Blood Rain Demon Monarch. There were many third-level rulers like him in the Eternal Dark Prison. Jian Wushuang was not interested in subjugating him. Although I have the keepsake of a disciple of the Red Cloud lineage and have supreme power in the Eternal Dark Prison, I can't subdue these prisoners unscrupulously. After all, my soul level is too low. I can leave a mark in the soul origin of these prisoners and control them. But if I leave too many marks, I'm afraid I won't be able to control them completely, Jian Wushuang thought. It was like controlling a puppet with the power of the soul. The stronger the puppet, the harder it was to control it. However, controlling one puppet of the same level was definitely different from controlling 10 puppets. Although Jian Wushuang could leave a soul mark in the soul origin of these prisoners and have absolute control over them, if he left too many soul marks and scattered them, the control effect might not be so absolute. Therefore, Jian Wushuang had long decided that he wanted to subdue experts in the Eternal Dark Prison, but he had to subdue real experts, at least at the level of Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand Edge Demon Monarch. As for ruler Wu Yan, although he was also a third-level ruler, he was not qualified to be Jian Wushuang's slave. Ruler Wu Yan, you'd better die obediently. Jian Wushuang smiled and did not stop the sea of sword essence at that moment. No, no! Ruler Wu Yan was extremely mad and let out a hysterical roar. Ha ha! Blood Sword Master! You are ruthless. But don't be proud. You are only a principal's master, but you have the principal's supreme treasure sword in your hand. There are many people who want to kill you in the first level of Eternal Prison. Although I'm dead, you will die soon. You will definitely die. Thousand Edge Demon Monarch and even Demon Dragon Realm Master will definitely kill you. Ruler Wu Yan went crazy at the last moment, but no matter how crazy he was, he could not change the fact that he had died. Soon, ruler Wu Yan's divine power was exhausted and he was killed by Jian Wushuang. He came to the corpse of ruler Wu Yan and waved his hand to collect his magic weapon, armor, and interspatial ring. Looking down at ruler Wu Yan, Jian Wushuang sneered and said, Ruler Wu Yan cursed me before he died? Thousand Edge Demon Monarch? Magic Dragon Realm Master? Will they kill me? Humph! He didn't know that Thousand Edge Demon Monarch had come to kill me long ago. Unfortunately, he was the one who died in the end. As for Magic Dragon Realm Master, he is indeed stronger than Thousand Edge Demon Monarch. But even if he comes, I'm not afraid of him. Jian Wushuang sneered. He had no pity for the ruler Wu Yan who had been killed by him. These prisoners who had been imprisoned in the Eternal Dark Prison had committed heinous crimes, and they had been roaming in the Eternal Dark Prison for a long time. It was you who killed me and I killed you. They had survived until now. It was normal that he had killed so many experts who had been killed by the ruler Wu Yan. However, in the fight with ruler Wu Yan, Jian Wushuang had truly understood the power of his two sword formations. He had just used the Wavelight Sword Formation and relied on the trapping ability of the Wavelight Sword Formation to kill a powerful third-level master. In other words, unless a third-level master was as powerful as Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, he would be able to defeat his Wavelight Sword Formation head-on, or he would have an extremely powerful escape method. He would be able to escape from the Wavelight Sword Formation in an instant. Otherwise, he would almost certainly die if he fell into his sword formation. Ruler Wu Yan was only the first third-level ruler that Jian Wushuang had killed by relying on his own means. And then, 10 days later, Jian Wushuang met 9 Absolute Divine Emperor, who was also ranked in the top 100 in the 9th Dark Zone. In terms of strength, 9 Absolute Divine Emperor was even stronger than ruler Wu Yan, but he could not break Jian Wushuang's Wavelight Sword formation. Moreover, the secret skill used to escape was not strong enough, so he could not escape from the Wavelight Sword formation. In the end, he followed in the footsteps of ruler Wu Yan and died in Jian Wushuang's Wavelight Sword formation. Half a month after 9 Absolute Divine Emperor died, Jian Wushuang met 10,000 Ghost King, who was ranked in the top 10 in the 9th Dark Zone. In the end, 10,000 Ghost King died. Another month later, Jian Wushuang found out where 9 Absolute Divine Emperor, one of the 5 strongest experts in the 9th Dark Zone, lived and directly came to challenge him. The two fought, and 9 Torture Emperor was trapped in the Wavelight Sword formation for nearly an hour. After consuming more than 60% of his divine power, he had to use his life-saving secret skill to escape. In this battle, 9 Torture Emperor was severely injured and fled like a stray dog. Another month passed, and Jian Wushuang went to find Dao Qiong, one of the 5 strongest experts in the 9th Dark Zone. The result was that Dao Qiong fled in defeat. One of the 5 strongest experts in the 9th Dark Zone had died at the hands of Jian Wushuang, the other had submitted to Jian Wushuang, and the other 2 had been defeated and fled by Jian Wushuang. Only the last one, Blood Bao King, was left. Jian Wushuang did not look for a challenge. Instead, after fighting with Dao Qiong, he left the 9th Dark Zone and went to explore the other dark zones around. There were a total of 108 dark areas in the Magic Dragon region, and the level of experts in each dark area was about the same. There were 5 recognized strongest experts in the 9th dark area, so the other dark areas were similar. After Jian Wushuang left the 9th dark area, he went along the surrounding areas and continued to explore and challenge. He challenged the strongest experts in these dark areas. The strongest experts in these dark areas were invincible in their own dark areas. They even lived in fixed places. It was easier to find them than to wander around like prisoners and prisoners. After finding one of the strongest experts, Jian Wushuang directly used the sword formation to fight the enemy. Once the Wavelight Sword formation was activated, most of the so-called strongest experts in the dark areas could only use secret skills to escape. Only a few experts with powerful attacks or special trump cards could be like the Emperor of Thousand Kills. He broke through the Wavelight Sword formation head-on and retreated calmly. However, such experts were extremely rare in the Magic Dragon region. There might not even be one in a dark zone. This led Jian Wushuang to roam these dark zones without fear. Another 80 years passed in the blink of an eye. Over the past 80 years, Jian Wushuang had passed through more than 20 dark zones and challenged more than 100 top experts. More than 90% of the top experts had to flee for their lives when they encountered him. There were also 3 top experts in the dark zones who were unable to escape from the Wavelight Sword formation and were exhausted to death by Jian Wushuang. Such a crazy challenge, coupled with such a terrifying battle record, and Jian Wushuang's identity as a principles master, gradually made Jian Wushuang's reputation in the Magic Dragon region rise. Although it was inconvenient to transmit information in the Eternal Dark Prison, it was not completely blocked. Soon, many of the top-tier great beings in Demon Dragon region had heard of his news. In a dark corner of Demon Dragon region, a thin old man in a black robe had just sent a Dark Zone Supreme Master away, and he began to ponder. Blood Sword Master? He's only a Principles Master, yet he was able to make one Dark Zone Supreme Master after another flee in a sorry state. There were even some Dark Zone Supreme Masters who died at his hands. This Blood Sword Master is quite powerful. What did he rely on? I heard from the Dark Region Supreme Master who was defeated just now that this Blood Sword Master has a very high comprehension of the origin of the Sword Dao universe, and he has even comprehended a trace of the universe principles. He even has a principal true treasure godly sword in his hands. Of course, his most powerful technique is a sword array that can entangle and trap his enemies. Once that sword array is released, ordinary Dark Region Supreme Masters are unable to break it by force. They can only fall into the sword array and continue to expend their godly power. Unless they use a secret technique to escape from the sword array, they will be exhausted to death. Yes, this sword array of his is also very impressive. The black-robed skinny old man narrowed his eyes slightly, but there was a strange smile hanging on the corner of his mouth. Kiki, such a powerful principal's master, suddenly appeared in Demon Dragon region, and he even has a principal true treasure godly sword in his hands. Master must be very interested in this blood sword master. If he tells Master this news, he might be able to receive a reward from Master. A hint of fanaticism flashed through the eyes of the black-robed skinny old man. He then walked into the depths of the cave abode and took out a cage covered by a black cloth. With this cage, the black-robed skinny old man walked out of the cave abode and came to the void space outside. He then tore off the black cloth and revealed a black bird that was in the cage. At first glance, this black bird was no different from an ordinary bird. However, if one looked closely, one would discover that there were many special black secret engravings on the body of this black bird. Although these black runes were not very profound, they were extremely complicated. The black pupils of the bird were extremely agile, just like the eyes of a human. However, at this moment, these eyes were already filled with despair. Kiki, little fellow, I'll have to trouble you to make a trip. Hand this interspatial ring to Master. The black-robed thin elder tied an interspatial ring to the black bird's feet. There was only one command talisman in this interspatial ring, and within the command talisman was a piece of information regarding the blood sword master. Then, the black-robed old man opened the bird cage. Go, little one. The black bird immediately flew out of the cage. As soon as it came out, the black runes on the surface of the black bird's body were activated. The black bird's body began to grow in size, and it actually transformed into a black eagle. Its terrifying speed burst forth, and in the blink of an eye, it had already traveled tens of thousands of kilometers. He was simply too fast. This black eagle's speed was many times faster than the speed of an ordinary ruler at full speed. In less than 3 years, this black eagle had already flown out of the Demon Dragon region. Moreover, the entire journey was unimpeded. Even if an expert saw this black eagle, they would immediately be frightened and hurriedly avoid it. They would not dare to block this black eagle's path at all. From the Demon Dragon region to the other great region, the Pill Demon region, if it was an ordinary third-level ruler's speed, even if the entire journey was unimpeded, the fastest speed would at least take hundreds or even thousands of years. However, it only took the black eagle less than 10 years to arrive at an ancient black castle in the Pill Demon region. This black castle was vast and majestic. One had to know that this was the Eternal Prison. The Eternal Prison was crazy about killing. Even the strongest experts in the dark regions had incredible strength and dared to live in a certain place. However, they did not dare to build a castle wantonly in the place where they lived, let alone such a vast and majestic castle. The owner of this black castle was obviously not ordinary. Whoosh! The huge black eagle swooped down and landed in a courtyard of the black castle. The secret engravings on its body circulated, and it turned back into an ordinary black bird. At that moment, a green-robed man appeared in the courtyard. He took off the interspatial ring beside the black bird's feet and put the black bird back into the cage. Then, he took the interspatial ring and headed toward the central area of the castle. The green-robed man walked forward in the castle. Along the way, he could see some livestock or animals around him. For example, there were pigs, dogs, cows, horses, and other livestock that could only be seen in the mortal world. There were also lions, tigers, cranes, snakes, and other birds and beasts. There was everything in the castle, and there were many of them. However, no matter what kind of livestock or animals they were, they all had one thing in common. Their bodies were covered with some special secret patterns, and their eyes were dull, empty, and filled with despair. In the center of the black castle, in the open space, a handsome man in a white robe with white hair that reached his waist was half lying there with one hand supporting his head. His eyes were slightly closed and he was humming a tune. His body was also swaying gently to the rhythm. The handsome man with white hair had a carefree look on his face. Just from his appearance, he looked like a celestial being. However, if the top experts in the first level of Eternal Prison saw him, they would definitely be terrified. They knew very well that this handsome man with white hair was a terrifying devil. There were countless experts in Eternal Prison, and many of them were evil and vicious. They were devils who had committed heinous crimes in the outside world. However, if one were to say who was the number one devil in eternal prison, most of the top experts in the first level would probably think of him first. In front of the handsome man in white, there was a white cat obediently prostrating there. The former would occasionally stretch out his hand and gently stroke the white cat's fur. Looking down, one would see that there were actually more than 10 white rats standing on the ground. These white rats' bodies trembled slightly, and their eyes were filled with nervousness and fear. "Little guys, everything is ready?" the white-haired handsome man said softly, but his eyes were still closed. The hair on the bodies of the white rats on the ground stood up instantly, and all of their eyes were fixed on the forbidden area in front of them. There was a red line there. "Go," the white-haired handsome man said again. In an instant, the white rats were like arrows that had left the bow. They burst out with the fastest speed in their lives and rushed crazily toward the red line. 3, 2, 1. The white-haired handsome man muttered the numbers softly. The moment his word 1 landed, the white cat that was originally under his palm instantly dashed out. The speed of this white cat was obviously much faster than the dozens of white rats. Even though the white rats had set off first, the white cat still caught up to them with incomparable ease. With a flip of the slaughter, the dozens of white rats, 6 of them were killed on the spot by the white cat, while the rest were lucky enough to escape the red line. After crossing the red line, the white cat stopped chasing and slowly returned to the side of the white-haired handsome man. "Ha-ha! Little thing, you did well." The white-haired handsome man smiled and patted the head of the white cat. From the gap between his slightly narrowed eyes, a fierce light looked toward those white rats. "The little thing that survived is quite lucky. As for the 6 that died..." The white-haired handsome man waved his hand indifferently. Immediately, the 6 white rats that had been torn to shreds by the white cat, their corpses were immediately reassembled at a speed visible to the naked eye. A moment later, the 6 white rats had completely recovered. However, their eyes were filled with even more fear. "Remember, the 6 of you have died once again. Therefore, your time limit will be increased by another 100 million years." The white-haired handsome man said with a chuckle. When they heard this, the 6 white rats' bodies trembled. Other than despair, there was no other emotion in their eyes. At this moment, the green-clothed man finally arrived. "Master," the green-clothed man said respectfully. "What's the matter?" the white-haired handsome man asked softly. "There's a message from the demon dragon region. It was sent by the little black bird you gave me, master," the green-robed man said. "Oh!" The white-haired handsome man finally opened his hands. His eyes were strange. They were green and emotionless. "The little black bird can travel through the first level of the eternal prison at the fastest speed. Over the years, I've only created 9 of them. 8 of them are in the 8 great regions. Since the demon dragon region used the little black bird to send messages, something big must have happened there." The white-haired handsome man smiled and reached out his hand. "Give me the information." The green-clothed man respectfully handed the interspatial ring to the white-haired handsome man. The white-haired handsome man took it and immediately took out the token from the interspatial ring. With a simple glance, he knew the whole story. A principal's master? He can actually force a Dark Zone Supreme Master to flee in a sorry state, and he even has a principal true treasure godly sword in his hand. The white-haired handsome man raised his eyebrows. "Ha-ha! Interesting. This is too interesting. However, I know all the slightly famous great beings in the first space of Eternal Dark Prison, whether they are from the 8 great territories or the remote territories outside the 8 great territories. If this Bloodsword Master was really imprisoned by the Red Cloud lineage and has been in Eternal Dark Prison for more than 100 chaos cycles, it is impossible for him to be completely unknown just because he is a Principal's Master. It is also impossible for me to only know about him now. In other words, this Bloodsword Master should have just entered Eternal Dark Prison not long ago. An outsider Principal's Masters? How did he enter Eternal Dark Prison?" The green eyes of the handsome white-haired man flickered. "The Red Cloud lineage has long been destroyed. There is no doubt about that. Eternal Dark Prison was left in the universe. Perhaps this blood sword master was lucky and accidentally barged into this place. No matter what, this blood sword master is worthy of my personal visit. Master, you plan to personally head to the Demon Dragon region? The green-robed man looked over. Yes. The white-haired handsome man smiled and nodded. Looking at the time, it's not too far away from my next patrol. This time I'll set off ahead of time. As for the little things in my castle, the white-haired handsome man's eyes flickered with a strange light. Congratulations, you can be freed ahead of time. Ha ha ha. With an extremely deranged and wanton laughter, the white-haired handsome man directly soared into the sky. Immediately, white horses with wings began to gallop up from within the castle, appearing in the air, forming an incomparably gorgeous carriage. The white-haired handsome man sat in the carriage, directly heading toward the direction of the Demon Dragon region. After the white-haired handsome man left the castle, the special energy that had been pervading the castle, all this while dissipated. Immediately, the entire black castle began to change. The dozens of white rats that had been trembling in fear suddenly transformed into cultivators. These cultivators were both male and female, and their auras were not weak. They had all reached the 3rd level of the ruler realm. There were also many livestock and animals in the castle. At this moment, all of them transformed into human cultivators, returning to their original appearance and strength. Following that, a series of hysterical roars reverberated in the sky above the castle. Forefather Star Fiend, I will not rest until you are dead. Forefather Star Fiend, I swear to kill you. Beast. Other than cursing angrily, there was also a relieved voice. I'm finally free. Magic Dragon Field, the 42nd Dark Zone. It had been 110 years since Jian Wushuang left the 9th Dark Zone. During these 110 years, he had walked from one Dark Zone to the 42nd Dark Zone. Standing in front of him was a purple-robed, middle-aged man. This purple-robed, middle-aged man was Emperor Xia, Jian Wushuang's opponent. Like the other Dark Zones, the 42nd Dark Zone also had a few recognized supreme experts, and Emperor Xia was undoubtedly the #1 expert in the 42nd Dark Zone. Jian Wushuang had obtained a lot of information about the experts in the Magic Dragon Field from Blood Rain Demon Monarch, Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, and the other supreme experts in the Dark Zone. Therefore, he had a good understanding of Emperor Xia. Emperor Xia was definitely one of the top 5 super experts in the Magic Dragon region. In terms of combat strength, he was slightly stronger than Thousand Edge Demon Monarch. In the entire Magic Dragon region, apart from Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, no one could beat him. Master Blood Sword, I know you. Emperor Xia, the purple-robed middle-aged man, looked at Jian Wushuang calmly with his hands behind his back. Jian Wushuang had already become famous in the Magic Dragon region during his adventure, so it was normal for Emperor Xia to know about him. It's my honor to be known by Emperor Xia. Jian Wushuang smiled. I know your purpose of this trip, so I won't waste time with you. Show me your entanglement sword formation. I'm also curious about how powerful the sword formation is that can force the strongest experts in the Dark Zone into a sorry state, and even force them to use secret skills to escape. Emperor Xia said. As you wish. Jian Wushuang directly used the Wavelight sword formation. After 110 years of adventuring and challenging experts one after another, Jian Wushuang's Wavelight sword formation had naturally improved. It was stronger and more resilient than before. The sword essence waves filled the sky like a storm, rushing toward ruler Emperor Xia time and time again. The ruler of the Emperor's temple simply struck out with his palm and easily crushed the waves. The power of this sword formation isn't bad. Ordinary supreme experts of the dark regions, even those skilled in offensive power, might not necessarily be able to break through this sword formation. If they are unable to break through and fall into it, they can either use secret arts to flee or wait for death. Ruler Emperor Xia nodded slightly. But this sword formation is not difficult for me. Ruler Emperor Xia attacked directly. A huge palm print swept out as easily as breaking dried twigs. In terms of power, this palm was no less than the 3rd axe of Thousand Edge Demon Monarch, and it was even slightly stronger. Boom! The entire Wavelight sword formation collapsed on the spot. Impressive! Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. Since you can break my Wavelight sword formation, I wonder if you can break my Earth Guardian sword formation again. There's a second sword formation? Emperor Sha frowned. Jian Wushuang had been adventuring for 110 years. Although he faced many experts, most of them only needed to use the Wavelight sword formation. As for the Earth Guardian sword formation, almost no one forced him to use it. Naturally, no one in the outside world knew that he still had this sword formation. Emperor Sha attacked again, wanting to break Jian Wushuang's Earth Guardian sword formation. However, when he used the palm that had just broken the Wavelight sword formation and struck the Earth Guardian sword formation, the sword formation did not move at all. In the end, Emperor Sha could only use his most powerful killing move. That killing move consumed nearly 10% of Emperor Sha's divine power. The power it released was no less than Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch's fourth axe, and it was also at the level of the Ten Kings. However, when it struck the Earth Guardian sword formation, it only slightly shook it. Seeing this, ruler Emperor Sha stopped attacking and prepared to leave. However, he was just about to leave. Ruler Emperor Sha, don't be in a hurry to leave. Jian Wushuang smiled and took out the disciple token of the Red Cloud lineage. In an instant, ruler Emperor Sha was suppressed. Jian Wushuang gave ruler Emperor Sha the same choice, whether to submit or die. Emperor Sha finally chose to submit. Not long after, Jian Wushuang left a mark in Emperor Sha's soul origin. Emperor Sha greets Master. Emperor Sha stood respectfully in front of Jian Wushuang. Emperor Sha, from today onwards, you are my 11th slave. Jian Wushuang smiled. 11th? Emperor Sha was stunned. Yes, there are 10 others before you. They are also the strongest experts in some dark zones in the Magic Dragon region. The most famous ones, such as Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch and Emperor Jiling, are among the top 10 in the Magic Dragon region. As for you, ruler Emperor Sha, in terms of strength, you should be the strongest among my 11 slaves. Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Over the years, other than the Blood Rain Demon Monarch and Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch whom he had first subdued in the 9th Dark Zone, he had challenged experts from all over the world for 110 years. He had no intention of subduing the ordinary experts in the Dark Zone. However, some of the real experts, such as Spiritcatcher Emperor, were completely on par with Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch. Jian Wushuang directly used the disciple token of the Red Cloud lineage to subdue them. Although many of them would rather die than submit, this was only a minority. Therefore, before Emperor Sha, he had indeed taken in 10 slaves. Emperor Sha was the 11th. I wonder where the other 10 are now? Emperor Sha asked. They should be in the 9th Dark Zone now. I want them to wait there. When I decide to leave, I'll bring them along. I'm still in the 42nd Dark Zone, so I need you to guide me. But after I leave the 42nd Dark Zone, you can also wait for me in the 9th Dark Zone, Jian Wushuang said. Yes. Emperor Sha nodded respectfully. But suddenly, Emperor Sha's expression suddenly changed. Someone is coming, and it's all 4 of them. All 4 of them? Jian Wushuang frowned. He had been in the Eternal Dark Prison for a long time, and the experts he encountered were usually alone. Except for those like Thousand-Edged Demon Monarch who went to ask for help in order to kill him, they would usually travel alone. It was rare for them to work together in the Eternal Dark Prison. My soul power detected the 4 people, so they must have found me. But they didn't leave. Instead, they came here at an even faster speed. It seems that they are here for me, Emperor Sha said. Looking for you? Jian Wushuang looked strange. Why do I feel that these 4 people are here for me?